suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting of the Sturbridge Finance Committee, we are convening by GoToMeeting as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. So we have a quorum. We have 8 members here, and Karen should be joining us eventually. And the first thing on our agenda is 2 reserve fund transfers. The first one is for a public safety building in the amount of $3,170 to bring the underground storage tank into compliance with current DEP regs. And there is a proposal attached and some scope of work and all that and some pictures. So maybe Robin, you'd like to explain all this to us.
Sure. Hi, everyone. This is Robin Travis, facilities coordinator, calling in. So we at the Public Safety Complex, we were contacted by the Department of Environmental Protection, DEP, in the state of Massachusetts for making sure that our tank was properly registered and all the information they had at the state was correct. We've been working for the past 6 months to update that information with the state, and they've asked for an inspection so that we can, in turn, tell them that the tank has been converted over and to non-generator use, and it's only heating oil, and then it will be a little bit more deregulated. So we're just catching up on some paperwork, and the inspection revealed that we're missing a few little pieces under the current regulations for overflow protection, I believe, and the photos identified in the report that you have. So this reserve fund transfer request is to fund Bierman Services to do those repairs to bring us up to compliance.
Okay, questions? Kevin, you're always good for questions.
No, actually, this one's I'm okay with. Actually, it seems to make sense. That we're trying to do.
All right then.
This is Jim. I have a comment.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, it's a small amount of money. It's less than $3,200. But if it was $32,000, would we be talking about getting a quotation that at least broke down in total time and labor and materials, not necessarily in great detail, but enough to know to differentiate how much is for labor and how much is for materials? I think that's typical, and I was just curious if that's a practice that we're going to follow in the future. And that's my question.
Okay. This is Robin responding. I can do that in the future, absolutely, with the labor and materials breakdown. That's something that I would be interested in keeping and record keeping myself. So I happen to not have that. I probably can get that to have on the side for this proposal before I sign and before we approve. And Bierman Service would probably be glad to provide that breakdown for us. We can do that.
And Robin, for this amount of money, but if it was greater than that, I'm glad to hear that at least philosophically you agree with that we need to know what the apportionment is, just so we can keep our vendors honest, so to speak. But thank you.
And when will the work be done, Robin?
I would have to, so the steps for me would be to have the reserve request authorized, hopefully tonight. Then I would put in a purchase order request for to go through Barbara and Jeff and the accountant to sign to make sure that the funds are there because it's over $3,000. And then I would sign the proposal and send that back to Bierman and they would schedule. So it depends on what their schedule is. But I imagine it'll be done in the next 2 months or so. Should be a quick summer project.
Okay. Anybody else have questions? Mike?
No, I'm okay with this, and I think the descriptions, as short as they are very well done for this one. I'm okay.
Larry, any questions?
No questions.
Joni?
No questions.
Okay. Bruce?
No questions.
All right. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'd make a motion that we approve the transfer of $3,170 from the reserve fund to the Public Safety Building Services account 1197252,000.
Is there a second?
Second. Bruce Boyson.
Okay, so Kevin made the motion and Bruce Boyson made the second. Roll call vote. Larry?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Kathy? Yes. So that's 8-0 passes. The sum of $3,170. Today's the 4th, right?
Yep.
Thank you very much, all.
And we have one more. I don't know that that's you, though. Oh, this is very small. This is for the, this is not you, Robin. Thanks for joining us then. This is for $284 for, let's see, the planning department. And this is for dues that evidently were, last year's dues were mistakenly taken out of this year's budget. So this is for the American Planning Association dues for Gina Guba. So, is there a motion?
I have a question, Corey. We'll get the motion first.
Yes. Anybody want to make that motion?
I so move.
Thank you, Larry. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's Jared seconding. Okay, Evan, you said you had a motion?
Yeah.
A question.
Well, the request is for $284, but there's $322 left in the account. Should cover it, unless it's all going to be spent on something.
The total amount is $606.
Okay, that's not clear. All right. So it's making up the difference.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions?
Right, this is Mike. Again, I think the reason is kind of poorly worded here, and it sort of suggested a controls issue there where last year's dues came out of the wrong account, now we're filling it in. So I think I need a better explanation as to what transpired. It's a small amount of money, but it seems like there's a process issue and a better explanation. And warrant this expenditure. Transfer.
The dues for this association, although they are due for the new fiscal year, this association likes them to be paid by June 1st. So the past practice has been that we have been paying prior to June 1st every year for these dues. Last year, I don't know why, but they were submitted in July to be paid as opposed to prior to June 1st. And because the due statement clearly says that they are for the period of July 1st, at that point it would have been 2019 to June 30th, 20, we paid them out of the new fiscal year. And now Jean is paying the dues that are due for 7/1/20 to June 30/21, which they want by June 1st. So that's why two payments are coming out of the same fiscal year. And this happens in some cases, but as long as we're continually paying the same number every year, it doesn't become an issue. The same thing happens on telephone bills with the cutoff period of a telephone bill. You might be paying some June costs in July just because of the cutoff period. We can't wait for the bill to actually come in, but that's what happened in this case. So, I mean, the wording on the reserve fund transfer request is exactly what happened.
I'm okay with that explanation. I think if the wording said, due to timing of payments, 2 years' dues are being paid out of the same fiscal year, I think that would be a little bit clearer, but I understand what to. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I see that Karen is now here. Karen
Okay,
Davis.
good. I was going to point that out to see everybody.
Yeah, I can see who's in attendance, though, if I push a little button.
Oh, okay.
So I was checking that from time to time. Yeah. So any other questions?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'm wondering if they might want to go to wording that says that instead of last year's dues were erroneously taken out, just say that that's the amount that they're asking for to make up the difference. But it's not much of a change. I can understand if they don't want to.
No, the reason we're short is because in fiscal 20, 2 years worth of dues are going to come out of this account. In fiscal 19, the amount that was set aside to pay the dues was actually closed out because the bill was not submitted until after July 1st.
So the money was basically turned back in and went into free cash.
Yes.
That would otherwise been allocated. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Joni?
Yeah, I just have a question to that then. So Barbara, why wouldn't this have been on the special town meeting for unpaid bills?
Because it just came up in the past few days.
We didn't know?
No, because until Jean submitted to pay the dues for July 1st of 2020, we were not aware that had happened.
Well, she got paid. It's not an unpaid bill because it's a new bill that's due and payable now. Last year's bill
It was probably paid very early in the fiscal year, right? The one for 2020 was probably paid in...
It was paid in July, yeah.
July, so yeah. Kevin, did you have a question? It looks like you were...
No, I think I just got Deb Boyd's text. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so we're good to deal with that tonight, too.
Okay, good. Well, that's part of what we're dealing with anyway. Okay, I think we're ready for a vote. Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen, did you hear enough to vote?
No, I didn't. I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Larry?
Yes.
And Kathy, yes, so that's 801. It passed.
I would just say the only reason I get picky on the wording is, in the end, this becomes the audit trail for finance committee actions this transfer. So the auditor is going to look at this piece of paper. It's not going to look at videotape of the meeting or all the other discussions. I was picking on some of the wording. It's really clear for picks it up, reads it, and has to make it go nowhere.
Okay, Yep, is not back from the comment, evidently. So, and I assume, Barbara, he would be presenting on the changes in the budget? Or are you going to handle that?
I mean, we can start without him and I can go through stuff.
Okay. All right, let me see here. I do have a list of things that we have not voted yet.
you want to take care of the schools while we're waiting?
Well, if you got the text, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I'm good to go there.
Okay.
Okay, so then I got to go back to the line item budget and refer to page C2, C8. And basically, I'd like to make a motion to reconsider the committee's vote of the Burgess Elementary School budget, which is account number 13,002, 53,000.
All right, hold on, I need to get that book. Okay. All right, so we have a motion to reconsider by Kevin. Is there a second?
Joni?
Second.
Okay, Joni second. Okay, Kevin, you want to explain?
Yeah.
Can I interrupt for a second, Madam Chair, and just ask
Sure.
what the process is here? I would have thought it was a motion to renew.
What's that? It's a motion to reconsider, line item
46.
46 in our line item budget, which is, at the present, it was voted at $12,077,053. So, so this is just the motion to reconsider first, and then we'll go to the main motion.
And
A
basically,
majority vote will pass it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You do, want to go ahead, just a brief explanation, Kevin, and then we'll vote probably. Then we'll go into the.
vote on the reconsideration and then explain. I don't care, whatever's easier for you.
Does anybody need an explanation? I mean, I believe the school committee met just literally minutes ago.
We just met, we got the text. I'll go through and do the presentation. So, the schools, when they were here, are talking about, they're just like the town. They don't know where they are, where their revenues. And they're planning on Chapter 70 shortfalls and trying to make cuts where they can in both Burgess and the Tantasco Regional School District. So, to get to level Chapter 70 funds, they went back to their budget, and they're going to cut out $29,234 that was discussed and voted on at school committee meeting this evening. That gives us a new recommended budget of $12,047,819. That's 12047,819. And I got the text from Deb Boyd that said they just voted that new request for Burgess.
So that was a reduction of 29, what,
234
234, thank you.
in our discussion yesterday. Now, what composes that reduction is there were cuts in the central office position. They've eliminated the position of coordinator of student support services. And then they've also cut $12,000 in professional development activities and related costs. So that's the Burgess. We also have this. So, and I guess going forward, just so people are aware, if their town's presented with a 5% or 10% reduction in Chapter 70, they have plans developed for the 5% cut, definitely already in place. And if they need to do a 10% cut, they're still working on that. They haven't got it completely finalized yet, but they'll have them in place in case that needs to occur.
Okay. Is Tantasco also cutting?
No, and it is a rationale for that, right? So
Well,
what?
yeah.
What,
Well,
so,
they could cut, but it would not really affect us or any of the cuts.
right, because so what they're doing, they're the way that they've been broad things, they come up with a budget, they subtract Chapter 70, and then that becomes the town assessment. So what they're playing around with is that middle portion of Chapter 70 funds. So even if they're forced upon them a reduction in Chapter 70 funds, they will not be coming back for increased assessments. That's how they're going to handle it. So the assessments we have now are going to stay, And if they're cut the district level in Chapter 70, they're going to try and figure out how to account for it there. Right now, they're planning on $291,000 in cuts. And with that $291,000, they would still need an additional $440,000 to get to a 5% reduction in Chapter 78. But they're going to work on that within their budget, and they're not going to increase the assessments to the town.
Okay.
So there's no change in our number for them, even though they will be reducing their budget.
Right. Okay, any other discussion just on the motion to reconsider? Anybody? Oh, going down the list. It's just the motion to reconsider. Are we ready for a vote? Hey, Joni.
I say yes.
Jim.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Larry.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Kathy, yes. So that the motion to reconsider passes by a vote of 9-0. So now we can move to the main motion to.
I would make a motion to recommend the Burgess Elementary School budget in the amount of $12,047,819.
Is there a second?
Second by Jim.
Larry.
Okay, Larry.
I think I heard Larry first. So Larry's the second. Is there further discussion? Let's go down the list real quick. Larry, any discussion?
Yes. No discussion.
Okay. Jared?
None.
Joni?
No questions.
Jim?
No.
Mike?
Well, I appreciate the schools taking a look at ways that they could reduce their budget because we're doing it on the town side. It just feels like $29,000 reduction is disproportionately small compared to the close to $200,000 we're looking at in our general budget items here today. So I guess I got to ask, $29,000 is a nice start, but is we sure there isn't a little bit more that they can give, and a little bit more proportional to what's happening on the town side?
Can I just
Yeah,
they did give a little more, Mike, but it's little. I mean, the reality is to get to level Chapter 70 funds, they only needed to cut $26,100, and they actually cut $29,234. I didn't make that clear before, but that's the final cut was. What's that make it like? I don't know, $3,100 more than they needed to stay level. They'll get back to level Chapter 70. I'm granted it's not a lot, but I figured I'd just give them that credit.
And what you were saying earlier, if for some reason Chapter 70 is not level, it's reductions. There are additional plans they have to go to a 5% reduction, 10%.
Correct. Yeah, they have.
Suggest that there are other ways, even if Chapter 70 were level, to take a little bit more money out of here and it still function in the schools.
I can't disagree with you.
Mike, anything else?
No.
Kevin, anything to add?
No, I believe I've hit all the high points now.
Okay, Bruce?
Yes.
No, questions. We're still on questions here. Or comments.
Oh, I'm sorry, no questions.
Okay, Karen?
No questions.
I think we're ready for a vote then. We have a motion and a second to reduce the Burgess budget to $12,047,819. We'll have that vote now. Larry?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Well, I think there's more. I will vote yes on this one.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
And Kathy, yes, so that passes 9-0. All right. Let me see where else we can go to. I think we could.
Kathy, do we have to revote the total?
Well, we still have other possible.
No, the
lines.
total of line 46, 47, 48. Do we have to revote that total? Because that's going to change now that one component changed.
Yeah, but we never vote the total. The total is just a carry forward. You're voting the line item.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do that.
I mean, if Joni plugs it into her little spreadsheet there, she'll be able to give us the number.
I did. Do you want the number?
Yeah, sure.
Want the new number? So the new number for the education total is 19,533.
You mean 19 million?
Yeah. Let me do it again. 19,533,322.
Thank you.
All right.
30.
Let's see.
Are there some warrant articles we can handle?
Yeah, I was just going to say we could do some of the easier
That's
articles. One of them is the road improvements, which is article. I mean, some of these have to be revoted.
So Kathy, this is Mike. If we're going to talk about articles that have different funding mechanisms, isn't that part of the overall, I think, framework that I think we need from Jeff and or Barbara? I mean, it's one thing to go in and just say, yeah, the words in there look good, we'll do that, but I think it's all in the context of their overall financial forecast, so we as the finance committee in agreement with that overall forecast and not only we're going to spend, and then we can go back into the individual pieces. I don't know how we can get into individual pieces with it without understanding what the overall picture is and goal we're trying to achieve and make sure we're in agreement with that overall goal.
So why don't I try to give you a little bit of an overview of what happened here, and then Jeff can add into it when he arrives. And Mike, I'm having a really hard time understanding you. You're breaking up a lot again tonight. But basically what we did is, because of the whole COVID-19, the whole budget had to be reworked primarily due to a couple of different things. One, significant lost revenue, approximately a little over $800,000 anticipated. To things like meals tax, room occupancy tax, excise tax, unrestricted aid, and then Chapter 70. We still have no information from the state as to what the state is going to do with our state aid. So at this point in time, we have level funded Chapter 70 with the understanding, as Kevin just said, that the school is prepared to make cuts if they have to, if state aid comes in lower than level. But when we put all the other additions, all the other revenue cuts in place, and I believe you received that on a spreadsheet from Jeff prior to the weekend, you can see the revenue lines that we look to cut.
We did?
Yeah.
There was multiple spreadsheets. Yes.
It was all part
There
of
was.
that was sent out.
I see it. It went to put it in a round form folder. My
Friday.
bad. I've got it. Came through the telephone.
There's some great
Okay.
detail, too.
Yeah.
So that,
Barbara, I have a question, Barbara. Can I just interrupt for 1 second?
of course.
The decrease in the sales in the meal tax and the hotel tax, we're looking at the impact for not this upcoming fiscal year, but the following fiscal year. Is that correct?
Correct, for fiscal 21.
Because the money for this year was decided as of December 31st of 19. So we're not going to have a shortfall on those funds. But this coming fiscal year, Jeff is talking about the impact in fiscal year, is it 22? 22.
No, fiscal 21, the budget we're actually working right now.
But I thought the money that we get from the sale, from the meals tax and the hotel occupancy tax is decided as of December 31st of 19. That money is, to use a phrase, already in the bank. It's already been.
We don't. No, those are still being collected. So the way it works.
Okay, I'm just repeating what I heard from you a couple of months ago, but okay.
The distribution. Well, what we've said is we believe that fiscal 20 we would be okay, but we're now looking at fiscal 21. So the distribution date, the money that we receive on June 30th is going to be revenue collected by the DOR for March, April, and May. So I would suspect that June 30th distribution is probably going to be lower than we would have anticipated. Okay, but we don't know that yet because we haven't gotten that June 30th distribution. So we're also anticipating that June, July, and August, which we would receive September 30th, will also be lower.
I mean, didn't the...
So to clarify, we get the money 3 months in arrears. Is that it? I thought it was based on a prior year collections, and then we got it in the subsequent year. Okay, misunderstood that.
Not for room occupancy or meals tax.
And Barbara, weren't some of those payments weren't businesses able to delay the payment of them to the state? I thought they had a delay if they wanted.
Yes, there was a delay. So that's why I'm saying I don't know what the June 30th distribution is going to look like. But we feel from going through our revenues and our anticipated turnbacks of expenditures that we'll be okay as we close fiscal 20.
But you're thinking that fiscal 21 will be pretty
first quarter.
First quarter.
We're projecting that the first quarter of fiscal 21 that the revenues will be lower than what they've been in the past. So the second component of this reworked budget was that the Board of Selectmen had indicated that they wanted to see a tax rate that was the same rate as it was in fiscal 20, which is 1902.
So Barbara, can I ask a clarifying question? They're basically saying tax rate and not want like a consistent tax bill, because there is a difference there. Right? Just
Correct.
Because they're saying we want it to be 1902 doesn't mean all of our properties go up or down in value and then our tax bills change.
So the assessed values are not going to change unless you did improvements to your home. The assessors are holding the rate at the same rate as fiscal 20, the assessed value.
Can they legally do that?
Yes, because they have to be within a certain percentage, and we are still at that certain percentage even with sales this year.
So that's good.
But one of the documents that you have is the formula for calculating the tax rate.
Right. I was looking at that.
Okay, and so what we did is we plugged in all the different numbers of the budget as being presented with the cuts being recommended that went to the selectmen on Monday night. And what you can see from that is there are two areas: free cash use to support the tax rate, as well as stabilization fund use to stabilize the tax rate. Those numbers are basically what we are using along with the cuts that we've made, which you have budget adjustments that were allocated by department as to what those cuts are. We would need to use 560,000 free cash, and on the sheet that you have, $620,000 of stabilization in order to maintain a tax rate at 1902. Now, what I would also indicate is you can see that I have that the projected assessed valuation is based on information that's available as of May 20th. We still are waiting for some information regarding utility values, which are not going to be given to us until June 15th. And so as we go through the articles tonight, you'll see that there is no actual dollar amount in the article for the Stabilization Fund, because we want the flexibility as we go through the next several weeks up to town meeting to be able to refine that number as more information becomes available. And we're also hoping that we might have some indications from the state as to where state aid numbers will be before we get to town meeting also.
So what's the problem then with just leaving the $620,000 in that article and then just, come to town meeting night or a meeting prior to the town meeting, just revoting that article?
Because I think that if the number in the article needs to go up, moderator doesn't typically allow numbers to go up.
Mm-hmm.
So by leaving it open and everyone going into town meeting knowing what the intent is of that article, I think that makes more sense.
You think the number will go up at this point?
I don't know, because we did not have the information on utilities yet. Anne tried to do a very good job of getting this number as close as possible. She's also out there right now picking up additional new growth. I would hope it would go down, but because the intent is to keep that tax rate at that 1902, if something happens and we needed to increase it, I do not believe, based on, the experience we all have with the moderator, he does not tend to allow a number to go higher than what is posted in the warrant.
How much is in that stabilization fund right now?
I think it's $2.2 million, but give me a sec.
Well, if she's doing that, can people let me know if my microphone is working better now, or do I have to find another?
Oh, that's
No,
much
I
better.
can hear you much better. It's
Okay.
$2,288,000.
Okay. $2,288,000.
All right, so Jeff has joined us. So
Hi, Jeff.
we
Hey, Jeff. This is Mike. So, Barbara, I appreciate the calculation. I know it's one that I talked to you the last couple of years about trying to do. I know there's always some unease given some of the variability in these numbers. I'm just trying to see how comfortable you are this year in the numbers and the result that's showing up on this calculation here.
Well, I think, one thing that was different this year is that the assessors did hold the assessed values based on circumstances and where numbers were coming out when they were analyzing the sales. So I think that isn't always a normal trend that happens. There's usually, some level of change depending on the type of home. Like I said, we've done the best we can to kind of fine tune this number. There are some missing variables, though, still at this point, and we've taken into consideration some different things, hoping that we are on track with this assessed value. But until all is said and done, I don't know if this is the real number, but I think it's pretty close.
Okay, now, go ahead.
I have one more general question here. So free cash. We started this year around $4 million. We're going to use $550 here. We funded some other things, maybe at special town meetings. But we're 11 months into the year. So in terms of revenues coming in and expenditures going out 11 months into the year, if our revenues are higher than we had forecasted, our free cash certainly goes up a little bit. Likewise, if we didn't spend as much, we didn't have as much cash going out, our free cash goes up. So do we have an idea as to how we might end up at the end of the year in terms of being able to replenish some of that free cash we're spending here?
Barbara and Chris did an evaluation. We are only going to replenish somewhere between $100,000 to $200,000 of free cash, which is significantly less than what we normally end a year with, because of the lost revenue and the fact that we don't quite yet have full numbers on property taxes. As you know, property taxes aren't due. They're due June 1st, but you can pay them till June 29 without penalty. So we don't have a full load of property taxes in yet. So our current estimate says somewhere around $150,000 to $200,000 of free cash coming back to us.
So if I were to sit here and say, looking at past history, boy, we get to the end of the year and our free cash money keeps going up and up, and now we got $4 million in a year in the bank. It gives us some flexibility this year. I shouldn't expect as rosy a picture when you certify free cash this fall.
I would agree.
Well,
Go ahead, Barbara.
we're not going to have an influx, but we're going to close the year with, after town meeting, still at about $3 million. I know that these numbers sound high to people when you look at it, but the whole idea of having reserves is so that when special times happen, you can tap into those reserves and basically are able to continue, services that, the residents and businesses of Sturbridge expect. And so we are very fortunate that we have the level of reserves that we do. We also feel that this is just not a one-year hit. We fully expect that we will see the same type of situation in some way, shape, or form into fiscal 22. So we have to prepare ourselves that the decisions that we're making this year more than likely will also be the things that have to happen next year to some extent. And it's very difficult to build a budget when you don't know the end game. And that's basically where we are right now, because, as we're starting to reopen the state, there's the big unknown of what may happen in the fall or winter. And so while we all hope that we don't find ourselves back in the same situation that we're now coming out of, we just don't know that. So, we're basing everything based on one quarter of revenues being lower on the things that are economy driven. And hopefully that's where we end.
Okay, are we ready to start tackling some of these cuts?
So I have one question there for Barbara. When you say one quarter, do you actually mean physically 0.25 of that, or do you mean some 3-month period within the year?
We took the cuts that we took from like hotel, motel, and meals were based on historic revenues for the first quarter. Because that's where obviously the economy, the state is just reopening, so there is going to be some delay in those things happening.
You said, Kevin?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
This is Mike. Since you talked about it, I was going to bring up, we got the article, but you cut the betterment article. So I assume lower hotel and motel, that's part of the reason why you're driving a bunch of line items here. You've reduced the amount of expenditures in the betterment article. If that was because you think the amount of money coming from that is lower overall, then shouldn't the SATA article as well be reduced, since, you know, we won't get fixed percentages out of that? Or you, when you get to the betterment piece, if it's for a different reason, we can discuss it when the article comes up.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, we can discuss it when we get to the article, but I have the reason why betterment got reduced and the Storage Tourist Association didn't, and we can wait till we get to those articles.
Okay, Jeff, do you have any preference to where we start, or what's easiest for you, or?
Whatever your practice is, if you want to go through the cuts, we can talk about those and dive into the articles. If you just want to do the articles and talk about the cuts, it's your choice, Madam Chair.
Well, why don't we go through the line item budget, and then we can hopefully get to the rest of the articles. We actually still have a fair number. I wrote them all down. A couple might need reconsideration, so.
There is
Why don't we start with the?
No, I'm
what's
sorry.
that?
There's a spreadsheet that shows each cut per department, and it's the same order as what I'm calling the C section in your budget, which you have a revised version of. So if you follow the spreadsheet, it's in the same pattern or the same format or the same departmental list that the C section is, and those are the changes to that section.
So is the spreadsheet part of those PDFs you sent?
Yes.
I'm not highlight any color.
It looks like that. Oh, let me get in front of the camera.
Right, it's the budget adjustment sheets, right?
Right, it says FY21 budget adjustments, changes to the general fund.
Right, it starts with your department, as it does in our book, pretty much. So C1.
Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to.
It's 2 pages worth.
All right, so in that email, we have budget revisions memo, which is just a memo, copy of COVID revised revenue, I read that, formula for calculating the tax rate, budget reduction detail, that's it?
It says FY21 budget adjustments, change to the general fund.
I don't see that one.
I thought I put everything as a package, no?
I don't see that particular one. I see the line item budget, Kathy.
Yeah, I see.
There's no revisions were on it. There's no highlighting.
Yeah, we have revised sections.
I think it's it.
No,
we don't have that.
we don't have.
That's the one.
Oh,
You
boy.
sent that.
Huh? Did you get that?
Yeah, I have it. You did send it out.
When?
Separate email? I don't have it.
God.
It was part of that package that Kathy forwarded to all of us.
Yes.
And also the detail of the book.
I don't know, maybe Saturday. I forget
Prepared all this. There was a detail of a change of all the changes in the book, of that section C, every single area,
Right.
and then there was this detail that showed the differences. It was all part of that package. It was quite a bit of material.
I have 6 attachments to that package, Jim. How many did you get?
I've got the 2 I just mentioned, and let's see. The budget analysis of revenue and expenditures, and then a detail showing the breakdown going out through the years all the way out to fiscal 25, and then FY21 budget revenue reductions due to COVID-19, and then the formula for calculating the tax rate. So there's at least 6 documents here,
Yeah.
Okay,
ranging
Kevin,
from 1 page to the whole
hold on,
book.
Kevin. We do have it, Kevin. It's just named something different.
Budget adjustment, changes to the general fund.
Yeah, it's just budget. That's what the title is, but the name of the file is FY21 budget reduction detail.
All right, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, great. I have that. I do. I just didn't open that one.
All right.
Oh, because you have to scroll down to see that stuff.
You have me questioning my sanity here, Kevin, so.
But
I was with them. So.
Yeah. No, you know, in your email, that's not the name of the document. I need the file name, right?
Oh,
Ding, ding, ding.
You're just supposed to.
sorry. I printed them out, and I'm going by the hard copy because I'm
Yes,
from another generation, I guess.
Yeah. That's what I do too. So I'm surrounded by paper.
You're the people who have progressive commercial, aren't you? Where you have to go to class to learn how to turn the volume up on your phone.
Kathy, this is like, I don't know if Jeff wants to summarize this, but it looks to me like he's gone through and just made a general reduction in wages. I think I read somewhere that the base general wage adjustment for those not subject to collective bargaining agreements is 1.5 versus 2 something.
1.25.
1.25.
And then you went,
That
and
is
for
not-
those who have steps, they still get their step, probably, right?
Yes.
And then you go department by department and found some areas where you could cut out something that was in there, wherever you could. At least first pass through, right?
Oh, so the
Well, there's about 3 pass-throughs there. Yeah.
I mean, there's unclassified with 65,000. That's a big one. Central purchasing, there was 10,000. Debt service, 5,000. Department head salary for the police department, 10,000. So I think the actual salary reduction, because I added it up today, was only around 35,000, give or take. Would that be about correct, Jeff?
So
Well,
I guess why wouldn't we go after the unions?
we did have a conversation with the unions and could not reach consensus on a change in their general wage increase.
So is this not some kind of emergency clause where we could just say, well, this is what we're paying
No,
you?
there's no such emergency clause in any collective bargaining agreement on the planet. It doesn't work that way.
And what are they getting, Jeff, for next year, the fire department and the DPW?
One's getting
Different
2.5 and one's getting 2.75.
Oh. And you're still under negotiations with the police
That's correct.
department?
That's correct.
So this would be going down to 1.25, you said,
Yes, for the non-affiliated.
right?
And so basically the union leadership decided that they weren't going to make any sacrifices.
I'm not qualifying what they said. I think they have a position, and we had an honest conversation, and we could not come to an agreement on a reduction. And I respect them for the conversation, and I appreciate the fact that they were willing to come to the table and have a conversation about it.
Hold on, I did add it up. The actual reductions in the salaries outside of the police department head salary, because we don't actually have a police chief at the moment, a permanent one. Outside of that, $34,924, what it added up to. And that included the merit-based pay. I think you probably, if you wanted to do anything with that, though, as far as the library goes, they were the cut in materials. So if you were to add back in those salaries, you'd have to adjust that as well, I would imagine, because it's supposed to be a percentage. But I don't know if you want to go line by line or how you want to do it. Budget by budget?
I'd go through the line item budget line by line and what changes change.
Yeah, I would like to do that as well, Kathy, if you don't mind, because I'm going to be making changes live.
That's true, you have to do the spreadsheet. Okay, well, why don't we start right with the town administrator, which is,
Kathy, this is Jim. Can I just make an observation before we begin?
sure,
Change in consumer price index for the last 12 months, in other words, the inflation factor in CPI, is just over 1%. Just so we're clear that, it's not a radical change from 2.5 down to 1.25, because the cost of living went up 1.01% in the last year on the CPIU. So, for what it's worth.
all right, so we're going back to page C1 with town administrator's salary. We have, well, we usually do the total.
Kathy, right? There's no change. Sorry, no change there, right? Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not in the Board of Selectmen, no, they don't get a step. So, yeah, the first one is a decrease of $12,374 in the town administrator, which comprises salaries for $37.50, merit-based pay $31.49, other salary wages $475, travel $2,000, and project funds $3,000. So that would be, I don't know what the total would be then.
Second. Well, do you want to, so how would you like to do this? Do you want, if you're just going to take town administrator and make these changes in the file here, and then we can look at them and take a vote? Is that how you want to do it?
Yeah.
We have the revised section C.
Yeah, we do have C. Yes, that's right. We do.
We should just go through that.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I'll make my own changes, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. They've already done the arithmetic for us. So it would be. So the town administrator total would be now $248,919. But we'd have to have a motion to reconsider first.
I'll make a motion to reconsider the town administrator budget.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion. Kevin and Jim, who made the motion. The motion is second. Discussion. Larry?
Yes, we might be able to save a lot of time if we have one umbrella motion to reconsider everything set forth in, identify it, we vote on that, we don't have to do it 27 times.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so moved.
All right, so that's,
Identifying the fiscal year 21 budget adjustments document.
Jim, are you on board with that second?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you, Larry.
Good idea, Larry. Thank you. Any discussion on the reconsideration? If not, we'll have a roll call vote. Larry?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Kathy, yes. Passes 9-0. Now we can go to the individual budgets. So we have the town administrator, and we do have that in front of us. Is there a motion to?
I'll make a motion to fund the town administrator budget in the amount of $248,919.
I'll second.
Jim, okay, discussion. Larry, discussion. I think you need to unmute yourself. Sorry.
Everything froze, so what am I being asked?
Oh, if you have any discussion on the town administrator. Okay. Jared?
No.
It would be a 2% reduction from what we've already voted on, right?
The total would be a 2% reduction, yes, in that account, yeah.
Yes. I'm good.
Okay, Joni?
No, I'm fine.
Jim?
No.
Mike?
No discussion.
Kevin?
I'm good.
Bruce?
No discussion.
Aaron?
All set.
And I'm all set. So why don't we go to a vote? Larry, this is to reduce the budget by 2% to $248,000. Okay, Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Kathy, yes. So that's 9-0. That passes.
You're coming in good now, Mike.
Okay, Finance Committee, we are actually cutting $46 so that it's a 1.4% decrease. So the new number would be $7,288. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
So that was Kevin and Jim, first and second. Any discussion?
Yes, I'm sorry. I thought we had agreed we were going to do one large vote instead of doing department by department.
Oh, I thought we just agreed to do that for the reconsideration vote.
Right.
Oh, understood.
Oh, so this is the actual vote on each article.
All right. I got it. I'm clear now. Thank you.
Okay. I think we can go right to a vote now. I don't think anybody has any discussion for $40. Larry?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Kathy, yes. That is 9-0. Okay, moving on to town accountant. The reduction of, yes.
We could, if you care to, if the committee wants to, adopt the practice on the budget in the actual annual town meeting, which is if there is no hold on a given item, it passes.
All right, why don't we just go down and read them then, and we'll see if anybody holds. Okay, the next one would be town accountant in the amount of $1,206. Board of Assessors, $2,234.
Wait, you're getting ahead of me. Sorry.
Well, I'm looking at the,
Okay, I'm looking at what numbers are actually changing. Okay, Finance Director.
Board of Assessors includes also some certification and travel in addition to salaries. Why don't I know what some of these are? Anybody have a hold on those?
No, you
What?
answered, but it's not just salaries that are being reduced. So as I go through the file and make the adjustment to match, I'm seeing that it's not just salaries that are being adjusted. And I'm just curious to know what those are.
Well, going back to the Board of Assessors, it's some certifications for $650 and travel for $150.
A lot of the departments that had travel money, they could give it up because no one's traveling for the time being. Everybody's doing Zoom or GoToMeeting or other virtual type trainings or meetings, so that we took advantage of that and limited and reduced the travel budgets where we could. So you're going to see a number of departments that have a reduction in travel.
I guess if there's anything substantial that's been taken out of the body of the purchase of services, is that in your document?
I can't understand you, Joni, I'm sorry.
Joni, if you look at on the sheet, the spreadsheet for the changes in the general fund, if you use the two documents side by side, as we go to each section, you'll see the areas that were reduced individually in the total, if you can put the two documents side by each.
All right, so I guess I'll ask a general question to Jeff and Barbara then, and then it'll make life easier. So any of the new positions or increase in hours that were proposed in the original budget presented to us, have they been removed?
No,
In their entirety?
no. Nope.
Why not?
Because they still have a need. Those departments still have a need. We still have a job to do. The reason for the request hasn't gone away. And we still have to provide services to the community. Particularly, I got a question today about the library. Well, we're going to have to modify a lot of programs. Same with the recreation department. It's not just because we're not going to hold summer camp doesn't mean we're not going to try to provide services to the children of Sturbridge and we should take the money away from them. We've got to go through an entire new process of figuring out how to deliver services, and sometimes that's going to take more people because we can only do it for a fewer amount at a time. So there's still a need to provide services. There's still a need for the employees to be here. And the same reason we recommended it in the first place is the same reason why we're recommending to keep it now.
You okay, Kevin?
Yes, no.
Okay.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to finance director, there's a decrease in the salaries and also purchase of services for 190 and travel for 200. So that's consistent with what the others. Information technology is just a decrease in the department head because he's a department of one. Town clerk, it's a decrease in salaries only. Conservation Commission, it's a decrease in salaries only. Town planner, decrease in salaries only. Facilities, it's a decrease in salaries, but there's also a decrease in training and travel. The Joshua Hyde Library building, the elevator light replacement at 3100 is removed. I don't know what that was to begin with. Let me see that.
We were just going to change out the lighting fixture, but the fixtures work fine now. We were just going to change them out. So Robin says that can wait a year.
Okay. The next one is police department head salary, 10,000. What's the rationale there, Jeff?
We're still in the process of recruiting a new chief. So we have the chief's salary basically sitting there. So we took a couple months of that out of the budget, knowing that we don't have a person occupying that position.
Okay.
So, yeah, just a quick question here, right? It says $10,000 on the document, right? Mm-hmm. But if you look at the line item budget, it goes from 145 to 125. That's like a $20,000 cut.
Well, the current department head salary, the gentleman who retired was earning 144, and we expect to hire a new chief in at a lower rate. So that was the first reduction for the pre-COVID budget. Then we took another 10 off of that because we don't have an occupant in the position today, or will have in the next few months.
Okay.
All right. And then, let's see, fire department, their salaries decreased, but there's also some training, TECC training at 6,500, the ambulance sanitation 1,260, which I think we talked about because they were buying the, whatever we bought with the reserve fund transfer, the
right.
substitute. And then the Lexapol subscription at 5,732. Mm-hmm. Why is that being reduced?
We're going to pay for that this year. They're giving us a 15-month subscription, so we can pay for that now and have it roll for 15 months. So we're taking that in next year's budget.
The next department is building inspectors, only a decrease in salaries. The tree warden is actually an increase of 6,000. What is that?
Well, right now he makes like $2,500 a year, and he's working his tail off. So, basically, I gave him some extra money.
Okay, but that's a stipend position.
Yes.
Kind of a big increase.
Do you want to hold it, Tony?
How do I do this? Because I'm not going to vote for that.
Just say hold.
Just say hold, and we won't vote on that.
Okay, hold.
Go back. We're going to vote on all of what we're talking about now, except the hold.
Okay, hold.
Education,
we've changed that, so.
Jeff, you want to change that to what it actually is?
I don't know, Barbara.
Why change the title?
What was that?
Yes, they actually, Jeff, they increased it by like $200 and something. So yes, so it's now $29,234, but you guys already voted that number?
Right.
Yeah, we're at $12,047,819.
Right, we had cut it by 29,000 based on my conversation with Deb. So we were close. They just did $234 more tonight.
Okay.
We're good. Your number's good. We'll adjust ours.
Okay. All right, DPW is just salaries, landfill recycling is just salaries, Board of Health is just salaries, inspections and testing is just salaries, Council on Aging is salaries, travel and mileage, and advertising, some advertising.
The Council on Aging, there's actually an error, and the department head salary is actually going to $60,880.
Is that the Council of Aging, on Aging?
That's the department head salary. That 709 is incorrect.
Oh, it is. Okay. So what should it be?
I don't know. It's actually in.
So it went up, is what you're saying?
It's 60,880 versus
58,119.
what's that?
58,119.
Yeah,
So it went up.
it went up.
Why?
Because I didn't give her step. The budget that I sent you had the 1.3, which was just the COLA. She still received the step. So it should be 60,880. That will be the number.
Wow. I mean, she was getting 2.5% to start with, not just 1.3.
The revised document that Jeff sent out to you was 1.3.
I must be looking at the wrong number. Council on Aging Department Head salaries.
Now 60,880.
Is that with or is that at 1.25, Barbara, or at 2.5?
No, it's actually now 7.4 with the step.
Right, with the step.
Yeah, it's going to take over $4,000 in an increase.
Yeah. It's consistent with other departments that are still receiving the step as well as the COLA.
Okay, so hers will actually be an increase then, you're saying,
Yeah, over what we've already voted.
Yes.
or what we voted. All right, does anybody have that number?
Well, the old number was 58,119. She's saying the new number is 60,880.
All right. All right.
Barbara, is this nothing more than a correction of an oversight?
Yes, Larry, it is.
Thank you.
Well, yes, but we need to know the exact number it's going up.
Oh, no, wait.
4.75%.
No, I know.
So sorry, which one are you on? I have the file in front of me. I'm just trying
We're
to
on the
see.
Council on Aging Department Head salaries at 60,880.
All right, hang on. currently she's at 58,119,
Right.
5%. And you're saying she went up?
Yeah, to 60880.
It's an increase of $2,761.
Well,
Exactly.
that's over the original budget. But from last year's budget, it's like 4,700.
But we want,
No, the original budget you had would have been higher because it reflected a 2.5% COLA plus a step.
Right.
Right. And so now it's going down to 57,410. What am I missing?
No, it's going
No,
to
that was
60,080.
an error.
Oh, I'm sorry. And you're talking about the error. What is the number, Barbara?
6080.
60,080.
so that's, it's going up 2,761, so it should be in the positive category.
Well, it's showing here that it's a 7.4% increase from last year.
Right. Because it's going up from 56,700 to 60,880.
Right. So the variance is 4,179.
Okay, is everybody good with that? Or does anybody want to hold that?
Put a hold on it and talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll go back to that one. The next one is veteran service, and it's just a very amount, about 120. The Joshua Hyde Library is a cut in salaries and also mileage of 250, and then because of the percentage of what's spent on materials, we can cut $1,000. Is that right? Is that what is it, 19% of the budget or something? I forget. Anybody know?
Yeah, that's correct. 19%.
19? Yeah. So I assume that's why we can cut the library materials.
Yeah.
Recreation is just a salary and also a dumpster for $562. Is that something to do with the summer program that you don't need?
Barbara?
Trash dumpster, you guys cut that at your last meeting when Annie was there. And Robin had indicated that she could absorb that cost under
Oh, that's right. Yes, I remember that now.
essential purchasing.
Okay, sorry.
So how?
Go ahead, Ken.
What about the department head salaries there? Where does the 413 come from? What does that represent?
It's the change from
Same thing,
2.5 to
originally,
1.25.
That's all it is.
Yep.
Now, why wouldn't the other salaries be in recreation not be cut? Is that because they're mostly minimum wage or what?
Yes.
Okay. The next one is debt service. You're cutting $5,000 on short-term interest costs. Is there an explanation for that?
Barbara?
Barbara?
Historically, we don't use this money. It's there in case we have to give any interest payments through the appellate tax board. We don't have any pending right now, so we cut it in half.
Okay, and then the big one, the group insurance, $65,000. How are you making that cut?
We received, Barbara, you want to take it? You want me to?
You can go ahead.
We received word from our group health insurance provider that they are providing some money back to their members in the form of rate relief, and that equated to $65,000 for us.
Wow. All right, I think...
Not rate relief, but premium relief.
So that totals, off the other page.
Total reductions, well, I don't have the the new Council of Aging number in there.
Well, we can vote everything then, except we have two holds. We have the hold on the tree warden salary and on the Council on Aging department head salary. Otherwise, I believe, unless anybody has any other holds.
Sorry, did you already talk about potential purchasing, Kathy?
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah, I skipped right over that. Sorry about that. Painting of the center office building and gasoline was cut by $5,000, I assume, because people aren't traveling so much.
Well, gas prices are down,
Is that right?
and the painting can wait one more year. It's some exterior painting.
Okay. Anybody want to hold those? Okay. Any holds at all except for, go through this one more time, the tree warden salary and department head Council on Aging. Joni?
No, just going back to central purchasing, or is it unclassified? Where is that future wage obligation?
It's
Oh,
still,
that's in unclassified. On that as well?
That wasn't changing.
I know it wasn't.
So is there any discussion on all of those?
So,
Yeah,
I
go
could
ahead.
hold on, tree warden.
Oh, no, well, we could vote on everything, but if you want to go ahead.
Go ahead, you do it. You're the chair. You do it.
Why don't we vote on
Kathy, I
everything?
had a quick question. I
Go
see
ahead.
this reductions in betterment. Are we going to discuss betterment further, or is this going to be it?
No,
Or
no,
when
no.
we get to the article, are we going to
Put
discuss?
the line of budget right now.
Okay,
We're just
so we're
talking
going
about
to
the
discuss that when we get there.
budget, and then we have to go to the articles. There's a couple I
Okay.
think we have to actually revote, or reconsider and revote. But right now, we're just
Okay.
doing this line item budget. So we are voting right now on all of the reductions slash changes, except for tree warden and Council on Aging department head salary. So we are ready to vote. Have a motion and a second. Did we have a motion and a second?
No.
We need a motion and a second.
So moved, Jared.
Okay, Jared,
Second, Larry.
Larry. So this is all on these line item budgets. Okay. Let's do the roll call vote. Larry,
Yes.
Jared,
Yes.
Joni,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Mike. Mike?
Mike's on the another line, he's talking. You might have to count him as abstain.
I'm at the end though. Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Kathy, yes. Mike?
He's still talking.
So he's at another meeting or something? Is that what you
What's
said?
that?
Well, I guess I'll put him as abstain because we're not waiting. So that passes 8-0-1 with Mike abstaining. Okay, now we'll go to the tree warden department salary, which is an increase, $6,000. Is there a motion to increase that?
Right. So my only issue is it's a stipend position and it's a volunteer stipend position. So, I don't know, it's not like it's a lot of money, but we are looking to reduce the budget significantly, and I find it interesting that we would increase it in such a way.
Yes?
basically what I did is I stripped out any increase I was going to get for next year and gave it to the tree warden.
Well, that's very noble of you, but I guess my point is, my understanding of a stipend is that, the amount is to cover any expenses that the person might incur. it's not necessarily a wage or an income. So it would cover, I don't know what it would cover. Travel or maybe his own personal stuff that he would use or incur, knowing what the tree warden does. There's a lot of stuff there that he can do from his own stuff, I guess. I just money to increase the stipend for. And is there any kind of a volunteer agreement that we have on this tree warden? Now that we have a new one.
Not that I'm aware of, and
Don't we usually have a stipend agreement with isn't there another, we have another stipend position in town, don't we? Isn't the animal control officer a stipend?
I don't know.
No, it's the tree warden and the veterans agent.
Oh, veterans agent, okay. So, a veterans agent.
Montana Republican Senator breaking with the.
So this is Jim for a minute, just to clarify my understanding of a stipend. A stipend is an allowance or a salary that you pay in lieu of. It's a fixed regular sum that you pay in lieu of paying somebody hourly or an expensive salary. And if you were going to pay somebody hourly, then you have to pay them overtime if they work over a certain threshold. And this eliminates all that. A stipend just, you wash your hands, you pay them a flat amount, and it doesn't matter whether they work 40 hours a week or 4 hours a week. They just get paid a flat amount on an annual basis in this case. And it's the number of hours they work is irrelevant in terms of affecting the sum. However, if a person's working as many hours as they think he's working and you're going to pay him less than that, he may not want to do it. You may have a hard time finding someone who will. That's just my feeling, because it's not an easy job. And we were fortunate to have Tom do it for so many decades, just because he loved the type of work. But he certainly wasn't compensated, as far as I can see, adequately. So that's my opinion.
Well, and that's a good opinion. That's a good point. If the person is going to be working more hours, and if this needs to be, does it need to be a full-time position? Should this be looked at elsewhere in personnel or something? But to me, a stipend, it's not. It's just to cover expenses, and the fact that it's a volunteer stipend is slightly different as well, in my view, from what I know of stipend positions.
Anybody else have discussion?
I guess I would like to know.
Great deal with this position being stipend.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Yeah, this is Mike. I hear Joni's point, but I think I disagree with it. I don't think the stipend is necessarily there to cover expenses and tell me how many miles and how many pens and out-of-pocket expenses you had. I think it was a dollar amount that we would pay you rather than an hourly wage or a salary to perform the functions over the year. And that stipend is a broad payment to cover a little bit of your time and energy plus any expenses you have. And so I don't think it's just limited to a reimbursement for expenses. We would treat that then as put it in the expense line item, let them submit things for that. And I think we do get great value for the amount of time that the agent does put into that position.
Anybody else? Otherwise, do we have a motion?
I have one question. It's just
Go ahead,
about
Jeff.
the comment from Jeff about the tree warden working very hard. Is there been an increase in activity for any particular reason? Is it related to COVID, or are you just saying this is overdue?
I think it's overdue. And over the past year or so, Mr. Chamberlain did tremendous amounts of work, and you did add to his compensation at the end of the year to kind of recognize some of his effort. And Mr. Crane is doing a lot of the same things. The money you spent on the trees that have been diseased, that number of trees is still out there. He's still working every day. He's still getting calls every day. So when you recognized Mr. Chamberlain for the work he's done, that work continues, that need continues. So it's probably something that should have been looked at before and addressed.
we actually did look at that. I believe it was last year. The CPC wanted to give an increase to Tom for leaving, and I think it was a fairly large amount of money, but it was not voted.
Kathy?
Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
According to the Oxford English Dictionary, a stipend is, quote, fixed regular sum paid as a salary or allowance.
I think I said that about 10 minutes ago, Larry. Thank you for reinforcing that, because I'm reading it right off my...
Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
Is it 9 o'clock yet?
Well,
So I was-
you guys can go forward with the vote. I'm not going to vote it forward. We increased the veterans agent a couple of years ago, and we didn't increase it this significantly. I think he does an awful lot of work as well. So I'm not gonna. You guys can move the motion. I'm not gonna vote for it.
I think we need that motion first.
I did. I'm making a motion
Oh,
that
you
we
did? I didn't hear you.
reward salaries at $8,787.
Second,
Okay.
Larry.
Larry is a second. I don't think we need any further discussion. So, Larry, your vote, please.
Yes.
Jared?
No.
Joni?
No.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Didn't hear you, Bruce.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Kathy, no. So that is 6-3. Passes. So that's a $6,000 increase. And then the next one that we had to hold on was the Council on Aging department head salary should be plus $2,761.
Right.
No, plus 4,000 something.
Yeah.
No, it's 2,761 from what we already voted.
Oh, yeah, from what we voted, okay.
We're only doing what we're voting. What if we had already increased or decreased from what we'd already voted? Yeah.
I guess my question, what constitutes, I know we missed something, what are the actual dollar components of what is in this increase? I know part of it's the 1.25, part of it's a step, part of it's longevity. What are they actually equal to a dollar?
I have no idea what happened on this, other than if you look at the spiral book, I only gave her a 2.5 at that point too. I inadvertently didn't give her step from the beginning. Okay, so it was wrong in the book when we gave it to you originally, and now it was wrong when I adjusted it. Probably because I just made adjustments based on the number that was there. So my apologies, but it's the 1.25% COLA, like everybody else is getting, and it's also her step, which is the same that any other department head is getting that has not maxed out on the step yet.
And what is it? That's what I'm asking. What is that number?
The total between the two, so it's, hold on.
Well, 4,179 is the difference, but you're asking what the step is, right?
It's a 7 point, I'm sorry, Joni, you're breaking up.
Yeah, I'm asking what the step is.
I thought it was like 7-something%, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's 7.4 total.
And the step alone is 7%?
Oh,
No, that's the total, Kevin.
6.15.
6.15.
Which if you go through and look through other employees, that is, they're all over the place, because we've talked in the past that the steps, depending on what grade you are not consistent between steps. But there's other people that are getting in the 7%.
I just want the number.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion on this one to increase it by 2,761?
So
I will
moved, Larry.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Larry's motion.
and Kevin second. Okay, discussion. Anybody, do you have discussion? Are we ready for a vote?
Yes, I'd like to just point something out. There may be a view that it's a lot of money as an increase year to year. Please keep in mind the following distinction. The amount, which one may or may not like on the one hand, and on the other hand, the system that produced the increase. If there's a beef, it would be with the system, not
Not the individual, I mean.
That's right.
It's the position, not the person.
Don't punish the person.
It's the system. Barbara and Jeff didn't just look at the stars and decide 7.4 is kind of nice. They followed the system.
Right, and there was a mistake made, so we need to rectify it, or else basically she'd be singled out from everyone. It was a
This
mistake.
is right out of a communications textbook where the timing when one learns something becomes more important than what was learned.
Right, yes, it was, I'm sure, an inadvertent mistake, and I don't think that we should punish one employee because of, an accidental mistake. That's what they are.
Right.
Everybody makes, I know it might be bad timing, but I think.
Had it been correct in the first place, I'm sure we would have passed it without.
Yes,
any-
I'm sure it would have.
any-
Yes, I'm sure it would have, exactly. So, are we ready for a vote then? Oh, Larry?
Yes.
Hey, Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen? Yes. Kathy, yes, so that passes 9-0. I believe that finishes the line item budget. And I have no idea what that amount is now. Joni, would you know? Have you put in the
Oh,
numbers?
no, I'm still working on it, quite frankly, but I asked for a hold on unclassified.
On which one?
On unclassified, I think it is.
We did, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
What, group insurance?
No, not so much the group insurance. I was just curious to know, out of all of the stuff that's in here, for the, and specifically the future wage obligations, have you had discussion on whether or not this is wise to keep this funding here, or if you should wait for that reserve fund transfer when and if there is a change due to the personnel study, number one, and I think there's also something set aside perhaps for the contract. I can't remember about that, but
Police contract.
Police contract, Joni.
It was the police contract.
Right. So I think that was included in this 100,000.
That's correct.
And the reason why I bring it up again is because as far as we did discuss this, and I was willing to make a motion to reconsider, but it didn't sound like anybody else wanted to, and it was just to stick to putting it on a warrant like we normally do, as far as the contract goes.
And I think Kevin brought it up, Joni. This is Jim, and I think the last time this came up, we did it at a special town meeting, didn't we? That we had to
We
make
always
up for a
have.
contract retroactively?
Correct.
Right.
We always have done it that way, but when we
Yeah,
last
I thought so.
it, as a group, as a committee, a couple weeks ago, I was going to move the motion to reconsider that and to put it back on a warrant, the special town meeting, but nobody wanted to do it.
I mean, I don't think we actually always do it at a special town meeting, because if the contract is settled beforehand, then it is in the budget. If you just pass it at the annual town meeting without even actually any comment necessarily, if it's been settled.
Right, but I don't think it is settled, correct? And it won't.
It is not.
Is there any expectation that it will be settled, Jeff?
I would hope so, but, you know, everything got slowed down by COVID. So.
It's the police only, right, Jeff?
It is, yes, it's the police only. And
I thought there was something else in that 100,000 besides
yes,
the police.
it's also the implementation of the compensation plan. Nothing has changed on those two items. There's still as we planned originally in the budget. You're going to have to make changes to salaries due to both of those circumstances. And why not include it? Why not just include it now and understand its impact on the budget now, than having to add it in next year on top of what you got to add in next year again?
So Jeff, can I think I know I expressed a lot of concern about this being here and this inside the line item budget when it happened. And part of it was, you know, the town historically has always waited for the contract to be finalized, and then we voted the number. And part of that was under the mistaken belief, until we got this, I think it was either Kathy or you went to the town council, that because the town meeting motion to fund is what actually approved the entire contract. Right, that was the belief for a long time, is that we had the 1 year, in that first year of a contract, if the town funded it, then all 3 years were, you know, funded, and it was deemed accepted by the town. But according to the opinion we got from the town council, that's not true. The approval is done by the Board of Selectmen when they agree to it, and all we decide is whether or not we're going to fund it or not. It doesn't have anything to do about approving the entire term of the contract, which is what the belief we worked under for a long, long time was. Whether it was correct or incorrect, it was that belief.
I understand.
So that's why
I understand. I mean, I remember that conversation. Yep.
So I guess why can't we look at some of this then from the operating budget and go back to, as Kevin explained?
Well, I think Jeff, my personal thing, I think Jeff has got a good idea in the sense that I wish it was a more concrete number, but at least it gives people a sense of what the cost associated is going to be, and it's in the raise and appropriate part in the line item budget where it would be paid from anyways.
And free cash, which would probably be what it would be. It would be
Otherwise,
a special in the fall or whenever. So it would be. So you're right. It puts it in the tax rate now instead of taking it out of free cash later.
correct.
That is different.
If you take it out of free cash, it only exacerbates the impact on your tax rate next year, because you got to add it into your tax rate, and then you're just double hammering on the tax rate with the same number.
Right.
Jeff, could you just repeat that comment, because half of it we couldn't hear you.
Okay, so if you strip this out of your operating budget now and fund whatever changes are with free cash, you've then got to take those numbers and add it to your next year's base budget, elevating the tax rate from where it is now, and then you take whatever changes you got on top of that for next year, and you're raising the tax rate again to accommodate. So at least if you keep this $100,000 in there now, you know that's already baked into your tax rate. You don't have to make it up in the tax rate next year and then go up again, right?
Yeah.
You already got the impact. You've already felt the impact of these changes, and you don't have to, impose that on the taxpayer already. And we've adjusted the rest of the budget accordingly, so we're not raising the tax rate even with these adjustments we know we're going to have to take at some point when these contracts are settled and the compensation plan is finalized. That's all.
So Kathy, this is Mike. I think I was a supporter of this approach when it first came around. But Joni's catching my ear here. So I think there's a control issue, Jeff, right? One, on union contracts, if it's in the budget, part of the negotiations on the other side says, well, he's already got some funding. We don't have to give up another 0.25% or something over here because it's already been funded. I think it ties your hands a little bit on that part. Whereas, if you have to settle a contract and both parties have to go and sell it at town meeting, so it has to be fair from both sides because we've got to both sell. The other part is the control on the wage adjustment. We don't know what the outcome of that study is going to be, but with the money already in here, where's the control on, do you roll it out? This is a tough year. We've reduced some salaries for general wage adjustments to reflect that in here. We kind of undo that by partway through the year as a bucket of money. We just go through the process of giving back the 1.25% plus something else. Whereas if it wasn't in here, there's a process to have to come back to wherever, including town meeting, to sell the overall salary plan and get buy-in from there. I guess I'm looking for where's the control piece on this?
The control piece is with the elected officials at the Board of Selectmen level. They've got to approve it all. They have to answer to the public every election, every year. They got to answer to the public at town meeting every year. That's where the control is. I don't get to unilaterally decide any of this.
So if the salary study says we got to make some big increases across the board to employees, that would go to the Board of Selectmen for them to.
First, it would go to the Personnel Committee, whose the compensation study is actually a product of the Personnel Committee, and they will be reviewing it first and evaluating it first before it gets to the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
We haven't received those, the information on.
No. Again, everything got, right. We intend to have information to the Personnel Committee to begin their review by the end of June.
So that's been held up along with everything else.
That's correct.
And again, we don't know how much, even if there will be an increase, and then you have to decide, when to make that retroactive, if there is an increase and all that other stuff. All these things come into play. So, I don't know, I wouldn't mind going back to the, at least for the portion of the police, I wouldn't mind going back, taking that out of the operating budget and then just putting that on a warrant article when it comes up, like we have done in the past. That way it's transparent, we're not being sneaky about it. Not that I'm suggesting we are, but, people don't see the details that we see, and, try as I may to get people to come to the meeting and ask questions and all that.
I don't consider any of this sneaky. Actually, I think we're being upfront about it. We're gonna give them a budget. Hey, these are the resources we're asking you for, and this is what we're gonna do with them. And we're not coming back to you tomorrow to ask for more money for stuff tomorrow. I think it's more upfront.
Okay. I kind of disagree a little bit. It's more clear if it's in an article, if it's in a warrant article, so that they can see it and read it, understand that yes, this 4650, whatever the money is, going through the contract that was just issued, as opposed to line item budget total that doesn't get discussed in detail at town meeting.
Well, this is where you would hope that, when we put together our explanation to the taxpayer in the beginning of the book, that you highlight stuff like this. Here's new things added to the budget this year. Here's why it's been added. Please educate yourself on this and ask questions if you have any at the town meeting. But this is the type of stuff we can't afford to ignore, but have to be highlighted and the voter educated as to what it's there for.
Yeah.
So any other discussion? We have a hold and unclassified, so we need to.
I guess so, because nobody wants to remove it or reduce it, so. Agreed.
So is there a motion on the unclassified
So moved.
account?
Second.
Who is that? Is that Kevin and Bruce?
Yeah.
We probably had enough discussion, so this is on unclassified. To remove, I don't have it in front of me, 65,000?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, the new number is what? 4365694.
Yes. Okay. Roll call vote. Larry,
Yes.
Jared,
Yes.
Joni,
No.
Jim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Bruce,
No.
Karen,
Yes.
Kathy, yes. So that is 7-2 on the unclassified.
Thank you.
So
I put the total in the chat box of the budget. And I'll do another double check on it and another triple check on it, but everything matched, and that includes the increase of the two positions we just said.
do you have that number?
Oh yeah, I put it in the chat box. Oh, sorry. So it's.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, you did. Sorry.
I just assume people use this. Sorry.
Mine just shows, it depends on how it shows, I guess. $35,254,719.
Georgia, yeah.
No. Oh, yeah, that's
Did that
probably
match
right.
with you, Barbara?
I'm probably just off the amount to Georgia.
Yeah, the total in the PDF that Jeff sent, it would be different because it did not include the council on payment, right? But it captured everything else in addition to the Burgess number.
Right, because that's.
What do you have again, Joni?
I have 35,200,719.
I have 35,248, 388.
Well, I highlighted all the changes I made.
Just go over it tomorrow or Monday if you want.
Yeah. I'll send it to you. Does that work?
Yeah. Okay, good idea.
Yeah, because I want to make sure we match, Barbara.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I'm trying to make it hear and listen at the same time. So.
Yeah, but we definitely need to match here. All right, are we ready to move on to the articles then?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, list here.
Madam Chair, point of order.
Yes,
Why wasn't the suggestion to hold this not voted on first because we didn't make a motion?
I didn't realize, Joni had put a hold on it, I just didn't have, on the unclassified?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. That's why we
Okay.
voted, just to be clear.
I'm being kind of a pain, Bruce, sorry.
So the first thing I have in the,
But Kathy, I hate to do this to you. I'm kind of going back line by line here. Fire department. I just noticed here, one of the reductions in their number was $1,260 for ambulance sanitation?
Oh, because I said something about that because they bought that new, whatever it was, that was reserved for transfer. They said that
When we approved our budget, that number was out.
it was?
Yeah, the motion that we made and approved excluded $1,260 already.
Joni, did you have that out?
What was it?
It was for ambulance sanitation? Or,
Yeah, hang on, I just closed the file. I was on my way to sending it to,
So that may be enough, but we just voted, if they took it out of, if you ordered the bottom line number and they took it out of their number, which was 1260 higher, we should get to the same point in the end. But if you guys are off the number, I think that's one.
wait a minute, let me look at the book. I usually would have written it in.
You're talking about the fire department?
Yeah.
So the bottom line number, I match, you know, 1,757,670.
All right, I do written down that we voted 1,771,316.
The fire department is 1,757,670.
Right, that's what I have.
Okay, sorry, you were breaking up again.
No, wait a minute, though. I have written down here, what we originally voted.
So if you want me to, Kathy, I can tell you what we changed. We changed the department head salary to 114,483.
No. This is what we had voted to begin with. Is what I'm saying. We voted a different number than what's in the book. The number in the book right now, before that change, was 1,772,576, but we changed to 1,771,316. I'm just trying to do that difference. That's the 12. That maybe is the 12.
No, that's not the number. Barbara gave the right number. Barbara and I agree on the number.
This is 1,770,000.
No,
What's your bottom line number for the fire department?
it's 1,757,000.
No, we took out 1260. You're right, Mike. That's what I have written in the book from when we voted on May 7th. We voted 1,771,316, which is 1,260 less than what was originally in the book.
And I have that same note in my detailed budget, Kathy. I have the same note.
So what number did you vote tonight? Joni, could you repeat the number? Talked while you were giving it.
So we might have voted that out again. It was already out.
The number we voted tonight with the changes that we made is one, and Barbara can confirm, is 1,067,670.
Sorry, you broke up there, Joni.
Is it my connection?
I don't know.
So it's 1,757,670.
But that includes the 1,260 again.
No, I agree with her number. You're right. I agree that they took the 1,260 out of the higher base, so we get to the same number in the end. So
We're good?
we're good. Yep.
All right, moving on to the warrant articles. I did want to point out in Article 15, Town Council made a very, very slight change. I don't think it's substantive. What?
Let's just make sure everyone's on the same page, right? We're using the document in a file that's called ATM warrant articles, fiscal year 21, June 4th, version 3.
Yes, that is what we are using. I hope you've written all this down on your the 3 versions I sent out today. The last 2 really, or the third one, it was really just correcting some of those typos. But the second version actually had some changes from town council, and I went through I'm just going to point them out. One was in this town budget article. Remember how we thought that that transfer of the 25,000 was awkward. I think this wording actually is better, but I don't really think we need to revote it.
No, the intent's the same.
The intent is exactly the same. I think the wording actually is a bit better. Read it after the semicolon, such appropriation to include the transfer of 25,000 of free cash. So there's no change. But I wanted to point that out to you. So really, the first article that we have to reconsider and revote is our 16th road construction one.
So I'd like to ask a question before we go into reconsideration here.
Okay.
So, I mean, we've taken lots of pains over the decades to make sure we didn't fall behind in road construction repairs and maintenance. And I just want to make sure that that in this year, even though we're cutting it by, almost $400,000, we're going to actually make up that $400,000 from another source of funds.
Jeff?
Yes, we have what's called Chapter 90 funds, which is state money for roads, and we have roughly $4 million available to us. So we will replace the $400,000 with Chapter 90 funds, and as the revenue streams reassert themselves over the next year or two, we will begin to rebuild the local support for the road budget. But we know this is kind of a one-off that we are doing, but the road repairs will not suffer because we are doing this.
So, Kathy, would you kind of note that in the summary box that, even though we are reducing the number, we're intending to, or put it in the report of the Finance Committee somewhere so people realize we didn't just take $400,000 from road repair. We're just changing the funding mechanism of it.
Okay.
This is Mike. So, Jeff, would we have otherwise spent that $400,000 in Chapter 90 money during the year as well as the $400,000 we would put in here?
No.
Or so we're in effect spending less, or how long would we have accumulated that part of Chapter 90 money before we came back to try to spend it?
We were intending to spend, and we still are, to spend $300,000 to begin the work on the Route 20 project so we can begin preliminary engineering on phase 1 of that project. So we had intended to spend $300,000. I don't know when the last time it was, Barbara, maybe you can help me, when we spent Chapter 90 money, because we have accumulated $4 million.
We spent last year, but they've been saving some of the money for if in case we did not get funding for the Champeau Bridge. So we haven't been using the full allocation every year of Chapter 90 funds.
And you mentioned Jeff Route 20 project. I'm wondering why we're spending money on a state road.
Because part of the program is that the local government that wants the project has to pay for the preliminary engineering.
Okay, is there a motion to reconsider Article 16?
So moved.
Kevin, is there a second?
Second, Jared.
Jared? Any further discussion on this article, on just the reconsideration? Probably not, I hope. Larry, roll call vote.
Yes, yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Kathy, that is a yes for reconsideration, 9-0. Now, is there a motion for Article 16, amended to 36,600.
One quick question here. Is it the intent of posting it with the strikeout, or we are just going to post it with the 36,000? The strikeouts are just there for us to see the difference.
The strikeouts are just there for you to see the changes, and then we will clean up the strikeouts and the renumbering before we get to town meeting.
Okay,
By the way,
I would...
Go ahead, Kevin.
I was going to say, I'll make a motion to approve Article 16, as written with the removal of the strikeouts.
And actually, that 40 is misspelled there. I missed something. I told you I would, Jeff. Should be FORTY.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah. There's a motion.
I don't think we have to clarify with the strikeouts. I think it's understood. It'll be in the article as written. This is how you're going to do it.
Yeah, this is just for us to see at this point, yeah. Is there a second?
This is Mike Hager, second.
Mike seconds. Any discussion? Kevin, Mike, Larry, Jared, Jim, no discussion? We ready for a vote?
Yep.
Good to see everybody. Larry,
Yes.
Jared,
Yeah.
Joni,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Evan,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Kathy, yes, so that is 9-0, it passes.
So, Kathy, can I ask you a question here? Article 8 doesn't have our vote in it.
I know, I noticed that some of these don't.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't check that today.
And neither does a couple
There were
of...
a few that didn't, a couple others in here don't.
Right, a lot of the community preservation ones, the Trail Riverlands one.
They were the ones that we voted last week, but we voted on some of them and not others, so
Yeah.
I'll follow
okay.
up with Jeff tomorrow.
But how do we know we've actually, I mean, I think we've done it, but I don't want to miss something. If we can wrap this up tonight, we should wrap it up.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but maybe. Who knows? The next one is the public access is betterment. Wait a minute. Did we do STA?
I thought we did.
But that doesn't have a vote either.
Yeah. You have to go back.
We voted STA last week.
Yep, we voted on the 28th, 8-0.
Let me see. I have that right in front of me. Okay. But I know we didn't vote betterment. So we don't even have to reconsider. We can just go right to a motion on Article 19.
Well, there's a missing word. 138.
Ooh. Actually, there's 2 8s there.
No. You need the word thousand between the 8s.
Oh, right. Okay. You're right. And I thought I was a good proofreader. Boy. Okay.
So Kathy, Jeff was going to explain why the betterment piece of the funding went down, but the SATA amount, which is fixed percentage of the same bucket, did not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the motion first so I can keep track?
I'll make a motion that we approve the article as written.
That's Kevin. Is there a second?
Joni seconds.
Tony. Okay. So, Jeff, would you like to explain
Yes.
what was taken out, what was in,
Yes, thank you.
and why the difference between STA and betterment?
So these funds are funds that we've already collected. So we anticipate for FY 21, or excuse me, the current fiscal year, and probably going into next year, that we'll collect less hotel tax funds than we anticipated. Okay? So that impacts the FY22 budget. So what we've done for betterment is we've taken those things out of it that we know we're not going to need or use because we don't need them due to COVID or other changes. The wayfinding signs, we have money already there that we can spend for signs. So we've taken those dollars out to preserve funding for FY22. Okay, that's betterment. Gives us more money in FY22. Okay? Now, STA, we didn't make that adjustment because the STA is specifically designed to help sell Sturbridge and assist our local businesses and our local tourism industry, restaurants, hotels, and attractions, and attracting people to Sturbridge and spending hotel money and meal money and all that other good stuff into Sturbridge. And if we took money from there, we're definitely impacting our ability to assist our businesses, particularly now when they need it more than ever, in getting them back on their feet. So we kept that money in STA specifically because with our new economic development coordinator and the new marketing plan that was put together by STA, we're going to need those resources to implement that plan and help those businesses help the entire community. And that's the difference.
So Kathy, I have a follow-up question then. So, and this is more process oriented. If we had taken in the 417, the way I understood it, if we took in an article with a full $176,000 and we didn't spend these $50,000, that would go back into the fund. It was split 50-50 between us and SATA. By only spending the 136, the 40,000 that we've reduced this one is not a pot of money that goes back and gets resplit between us and SATA. It's money that still stays in the town account for a future appropriation in another year.
I don't know the answer to that. I do know that it provides more betterment money for FY22. But it's money we already have. We already have it.
Right, but Mike is correct. In the way it usually works, anything that's unspent, put back into the one pot, then it gets all split up. Excuse me, according to the percentages.
Okay.
That's correct.
So you told me by not spending this $40,000, we're effectively at the beginning of the year versus the end of the year putting it in the pot, and we're only going to get 20 next year because we split the pot. We got 176. SATA got 176. We're only going to spend 136. So next year we're basically putting 20 in their pot and only 20 in ours. If that's the case, has the betterment looked at other expenses over on the police and fire side or somewhere else in the department budget that they could use the $40,000 for and reduce a department budget a little bit more this year? So I don't have to give up half of this money and I can still fund whatever we need for this year.
No.
Then you're screwing with the tax rate, right?
Again, it's going to go back into that tax formula and whatever else, yeah. So,
I mean, I think he laid it out that he's looking to save funds so that next year we artificially inflate the number we know is going to be lower.
You also got to remember, next year, there's going to be less money to spend on STA too. So even though,
right,
it goes both ways.
And the STA is not the old way it used to be, where we used to give that money right to the Southwest Chamber of Commerce. It's a town-run entity now. We control it. It's not going to a third party. So it really does, it is staying in town.
Yes. Now, some of the funds are spent on regional efforts, advertising, partnerships and those kind of things, but it is controlled at the local level. The events are controlled at the local level. The support is for local Sturbridge hotels and so forth, yes.
Just one question on the details. The version we have looks like it crosses out Town Common Concert Series in the amount of 4,000, but the line after that is a $3,500 line item. So do I take it, and that second line item didn't show up in the first version. So should I read this as we're reducing concerts from 4,000 to 3,500?
That's correct.
Yes, you see the same in police special event overtime. It was 15, and then there's a new line, and it says 9,000. And I think there's maybe fire special event is the same way. So
All of the reductions.
Okay.
It shows what it was.
Okay, yep, thank you.
I saw that myself today, but then I realized what they were doing.
So Kathy, this is Jim. I have a question on a line item in there.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the softball shade protection canopies for $10,680.
Yeah.
Now, these are on all 4 fields at Burgess. So upper field, and the 2 upper fields, lower field, and the Little League field all have these. And the Little League field at the town barn has full-blown dugouts, so it doesn't need this. This is for 1 field at the far end of the town barn fields. And my question is this: if there's not going to be any softball season this year, and apparently it doesn't seem like there will be, why do we have to spend this year and not decide to pursue this in the future? Especially since right now, 5 out of our 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of our 6 fields already have cover for the participants in the baseball or softball. So that was my question on that. The other thing is, if I move up to bleachers for Turner's Field, I can see why we need them. I went by there. One set of bleachers is fine. The other set is, I wouldn't want to sit on them. You take your life in your hands. But that's the Legion field. And is the Legion playing this year? Will they be playing? And if not, do we have to do that this year? So now you've got a total of about $16,000 that we may not have to spend if we're not going to use the facilities this year. So that's just a question I have. And maybe, Jeff, you can tell me what you think about the prospect of these teams resuming play before next spring.
Well, I think at some point this summer, we're going to play ball, whether we do it organized or whether people have leagues or whatever it is. And I think the need for these improvements remains, regardless of whether we have our spring season or not. The bleachers are worn out and need to be changed. We have ball fields without proper dugouts. That need does not go away just because we had to cancel a Little League season.
I appreciate your comment, but you say without proper dugouts. We have benches, we have chain link fences in front of those benches. The only thing they don't have is coverage to protect.
That was probably a poor use of, that was probably a poor use of that word proper. I apologize.
Because usually kids that play in these type of games wear a hat anyway to get shade. So sitting under a canvas tent is not exactly a life-threatening situation, but just an observation.
Any other discussion? If not, I think we're ready for a vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Did somebody say something?
Yeah, Kevin did.
Oh, Kevin, what? Go ahead, Kevin.
So, we have in the past actually stricken things from these betterment articles that, we looked at and said, what do they think? I mean, Jim, are you proposing that we take out that $10,680 and strike it?
Yeah, I am. I think that would be, we have to do it eventually to make all the fields the same. Quite honestly, I walked over to that field last week, and the superstructure is already there to put a canvas over the top of an existing superstructure. It just doesn't match the other 5 fields. But it could be done. But aside from that, I just think, it's $11,000 we could save this year. I'm not saying we don't do it in the future, but, if we're going to start cutting $1,000 here and $1,000 here on people's salaries, I just think this is superfluous is too strong a word, but I think it's non-essential. the better word, I suppose.
Kathy,
Yes.
I'm wondering, Jim's very interesting point about salary cuts. If I understand the original legislation about betterment and tourism, that money can only be spent in certain ways.
Yeah.
That is, then, we could not take, let's say, a hypothetical 11,000 and restore salary cuts, because that would be a not use of the 11,000.
That's correct. It has to come within certain parameters of the legislation, and it has to be split between, I believe, recreation, public safety, and what is that sort of? No, there's another category.
Beautification.
Beautification. Thank you. Yes, as I'm looking at the. So it does
to address, Larry, it's not my intention to say that we should take this money and restore salaries. I'm just saying that I see this as an expenditure that we don't have to make. And if we reach a point where we're cutting all types of other things, I just consider this unnecessary at the moment. It's a betterment. It's to make things better. But it's non-essential. That's how I look at betterments, non-essential. At least in this case.
Kathy, this is Mike. I think we had similar discussion last year about the drone. Some people were okay with it. Some people disagreed with it. I think every year we go in here, there's something that a bunch of us or one of us doesn't like. And while I think we're the overall decision makers is what to go to town meeting or at least recommend what town meeting does. I think if I were to go into an article like this and pick and choose individual pieces after there's a process to send this through a betterment committee to look at a bunch of things and come with the overall recommendation. I feel I'm kind of overstepping a little bit on this one by managing the details versus the broader piece of, we try to spend $138,000 or $176,000. I think we got to leave it to the betterment committee to follow its process, decide what it feels is best to bring forward here.
All right, so then, and I have a question here. Did the betterment committee recommend the cuts?
No,
Did it go back to?
That was my question.
no, because we haven't, because the wayfinding signs, the department head withdrew that one. And the other ones, all we did was, in the beautification, that was from me. I took that out. I proposed it in the first place. And the others were a reduction of existing dollars. We didn't eliminate those.
So I guess that answers that question.
I'm just wondering, I'm trying to follow Jim's thinking. If betterment is, if there are not essential funds in betterment, then you got a choice, I think. One is do away with betterment because it's not essential by definition, or set up a kind of a competition among all of the items to see which is the least inessential. If we're going to take something, there's another canopy. There's a customized event canopy. Why not take that? I'm agreeing with Mike. I call the question.
All right. Is there a second to Larry's motion?
What do you mean? I thought we already had a motion.
No, he's calling the question, moving the question.
When you call the question, it is the motion. It is a motion not requiring a second. It takes a majority vote. It is not debatable. If it does not pass, then discussion on the main motion continues. If it does pass, then there is no further discussion. An immediate vote on the main motion must be conducted.
Okay.
I always thought it had to have a second though, but I think your word, I know it does.
I just have one educational question there. So you can only do this because we have a first and a second, right? If we're just discussing without a motion right now, you couldn't move any.
Do we not have a motion on the floor?
We do have a motion for.
All right.
We do.
I'm calling that motion, and it does not require a second because this motion is a test to see if we have wrung out everything that can be said.
No, Larry, you're missing. I just wanted some education. The only reason you can move this question is because there is already
a motion on the floor.
Yeah, without a motion, there is no question to call.
Okay, that's what I was. Okay, that's what I just want to make sure I understood that. All right, thanks.
Now we do have a motion. I have a you made it, and Joey did it. Okay.
What is that motion? Is that a motion to reconsider or a motion to approve the articles written?
It's just to approve it because we had never approved it to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I wrote down the ones we have and haven't written, because I know, because the votes weren't all in here, I wrote down what we had in fact voted on and not. Okay, so the motion to call the question, Larry, we have to do this roll.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Joni.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, could you tell me what we're voting on?
We're voting on whether to basically, on calling the question, which means ending debate and going to an immediate vote on the main motion.
But I'm a little confused about what the main motion bears on.
It's on Article 19, the Betterment Committee, which is to approve it.
I see. Okay, thank you. Again.
So, Joni.
I called the question.
I'm sorry. Oh, you still have questions? Okay. Jim?
No.
Mike?
We're voting on, do we want to go to the motion? Yes. I want to do that.
Kevin?
No, because I want to hear Joni's question.
Bruce?
No, I might have a question or two myself.
Aaron?
Yes.
Yes. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to 4. I have it passes. Only a majority vote. So we go immediately to Article 19, the vote. Betterment Committee, $138,821 to be spent on the items outlined in the warrant article. Larry, your vote, please.
Yes.
Jared.
Yes.
Joni.
No.
Jim.
No.
Mike.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Bruce.
No.
Karen.
Yes.
Kathy, yes. So that is 1, 2, 3, 6 to 3.
So Kathy, if
Yeah.
I'm in the affirmative, I can make a motion to reconsider this, right?
You were the majority? Yes, you can.
I'm not going to. I just wanted to make sure I could.
There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Article 20, the Capital Improvement Plan. Which is, it's actually a combination of taking from free cash and transferring from the Fire Apparatus Stabilization Fund, and that is why it's at town meeting, it will be a 2/3 vote because of that money coming from stabilization. We've checked the town council on that today. So the total is, as amended, we haven't voted on it, but as changed, in front of you is $1,059,741.
I'll make a motion. The article is written.
Okay, so that's Kevin. Is there a second?
Jim will second that.
Jim second. All right. Discussion. Or do you want to hear from Jeff first?
Yeah, I'd like to understand the cut and what are we getting, basically almost having that surveillance system.
You're getting the outside cameras, not the inside cameras. So the whole package was inside and outside cameras. We just separated into outside cameras first, and then we'll come back next year for the inside cameras.
Okay, other discussion. Larry, any discussion?
No.
Jared, discussion?
Did you say Jared or Karen?
Yeah, Jared.
No.
Joni?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify the moving from the stabilization fund. That's for the fire pumper truck. Is that right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the only reason why it has to be in here and not a standalone warrant is because it's considered capital.
Well, because some of it is, yes, well, it is capital, yes, but it was part of the capital plan to begin with. But the funding, partial funding is coming from the stabilization fund for the pumper itself, but not for the whole thing.
Okay. Well, but it looks like we're moving 755K. Sorry, it's only 304 coming from the stabilization fund.
Right, and the total for the fire pumper is 750,000. So 304 is coming from the stabilization fund, because I believe that's what's in there.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. That's it.
All right, Jim, any questions? Comments?
No questions.
Mike?
Yeah, I guess it has to do with the sources of funding here. So we're using two sources. I understand why we're doing that. Again, I guess it's a process and control question. How do we make sure that $340,000 that comes out of the apparatus stabilization fund is used to purchase a fire pumper, and not that we don't decide not to buy the fire pumper and then we got money that we use for other things?
Because the apparatus stabilization fund can only be used to buy apparatus.
Right. When you set up a stabilization fund, you set up its purpose, and it can only be used for that purpose.
And considering that the truck, we have a loaner in-house and we got to buy a truck, it's a pretty good bet we're going to buy a truck. Because the one that went offline has got a cracked frame and we can't use it. So the sooner the better on getting another truck ordered. So rest assured, we're gonna buy a truck.
Agreed. You'd be answering a lot more questions if you delay that purchase versus others. So okay, I'm all set. Thank you.
All right, Kevin, any questions or comments?
Yeah, just one question. I noticed that in some of these, like the police Veridesk stations, we say we're purchasing 12. In the executive 24/7 chairs, shouldn't we do the same thing and say we're buying 3, where it isn't obvious we're only buying 1? Like exterior storage containers, we've cut down. We're buying 1 container there. Okay, things like that. But the chairs, we're buying 3. Right? Is there a reason why we're not specifying that we're buying 3 chairs? Because someone's going to look at that and say $3,300 for chairs. I'm insane. Or how many chairs are there?
We can put the number of chairs in there if you want.
I just think that it might be a little more information to give to the person considering the article.
Okay. I agree on that.
Can you do that, Jeff, without us having to do a motion to amend?
To do what? Put a number on what we're buying?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know, Barbara?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay. Kevin, anything else on this one?
No, that was my other question was answered. Thank you.
Okay. Bruce?
No questions.
Karen?
Yeah, I just have one. Eliminating the storage and records management. I got the impression that that was a pretty dire need. Am I mixing this up, or is this at the center building where you were trying to alleviate some space so that all of the people who were sharing space would have the ability to actually fit? And if we take that off, does that mean they're going to continue to live with those circumstances?
Partially, yes. We're going to do what we
So
can to,
wasn't-
well, there's some stuff we can move around, there's some stuff we can get rid of, but it doesn't alleviate the overall need, so we'll still have things that we probably could use in the new storage equipment for, but we'll have to make do.
Thank you.
Karen, were you talking about converting the meeting room to office space?
Yes.
Yeah, that's still in the budget. That's not here, that's in the operating budget.
All right, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think this is a different area of the COB, right?
Yeah, this is in the basement.
The basement, right? Yeah. Okay, I think we're ready for a vote. Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
And Cassie, yes, that is 9-0. Okay. Next one is,
On Article 21, can I just give you the amount for the text box?
oh, sure. Should it be 186 instead?
187, 266.
187, 266?
Yep.
Oh,
What is that for?
That's the balance in the text box.
Oh, okay.
we were doing the text boxes, we questioned the amount because it didn't seem to add up. If you're only putting 60 in from the amount last year, that's all. I don't know if anybody else would have caught it except us, but anyway.
And then
So
Article
186,
22,
66. Okay, so Article 22. And what would that amount be in the fund?
1105804.
804, okay.
Yeah, Article 22
We have
doesn't,
not,
Article 22 doesn't show the changes, but that has been changed from 100,000 to 75,000.
we never voted it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think it mattered all that much. So is there a motion? I'm sorry, go ahead, Kev.
Well, I just have a question about, I mean, we've been very good at being very consistent in funding our obligation here. And, it's been noted by the auditors and it's been noted by the credit rating agencies. Do we expect any negative impact by cutting it?
We do not.
Have we reached out and just got a sense of that?
The Department of Revenue has actually given us guidance that they have spoken to the rating agencies and they understand, based on the circumstances that we're in, that this obligation will probably not be funded at the levels that it had been in the past.
Okay.
We're still within our fiscal policies, which states a minimum of $50,000 per year.
Right. No, I'm good. I'm good to hear that the state's going to be behind us and saying, "Hey, this isn't a negative. We're still funding it, which is a big plus." Mm-hmm. So I'd make a motion to approve Article 20 as written.
Is there a second?
Second, Larry. Second.
I think Larry got it. So it's Kevin and Larry. Is there any discussion on this one? And this is a yearly vote. It's just a different amount this year due to circumstances. I think we're ready for a vote unless anybody speaks up. Jim, you vote?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Kathy, that's 9-0. It passes. The next one is Article 23.
I'll make a motion to approve Article 23 as written.
Tax rate relief.
I'll second.
That's Kevin and Jim.
Yeah.
So this is now, well, we never voted it, but it was from $450 to $550,000.
Yeah.
Just to make that clear, it's $550,000 now from free cash. Any discussion on this?
No, Larry. I came pretty close to 1.25 I told you at the beginning that we were going to need.
Yep.
Any discussion on this one? If not, we'll call for a vote. Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kathy, yes. So that is 9-0 on this. So that passes 9-0. Next one is number
26.
I think we've done the water department.
Yeah, but
Yeah, renumbering.
yeah, we need to reconsider and do it.
Oh, did we vote this one?
You did not.
Oh,
I
okay.
did. I have it written down as under. I still had it as 27, but I have it as not voted.
Yeah, so it's not. I didn't think it was either.
No, I really have tried to keep really good track, even with the number changes. Yeah, I think there might be a couple at the end that we had to revote. So Article 26 is the water department, and this is a total of $1,447,288 for the water department, and some of it is coming from the rates that are set, and some is coming from the water reserve balance.
Just our question here, what is that? What is the balance in that reserve fund?
$956,267.
So we're falling below $1 million.
And is that amount after we take this amount of money out, or is it before we take this amount of money out?
Before?
Oh, okay. All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Article 26 as written.
Is there a second?
Second, Jared.
Eric? Discussion? Larry, any discussion?
No, I just want to point out, probably it would be for Joni, who noted that there is an indentation estimated for FY21 is : you got it to the left, one space.
Okay. Oh, yeah. See that. Jared, any questions?
Nope.
Tony?
I actually do have a question. So the DPW, he gets, that position is funded portion in the water and a portion in the sewer. So since his DPW salary was reduced, is this reduced here as well? Or how does that get calculated if it's not?
Barbara?
Joni, I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Can you guys not hear me? Or just
I can try to repeat it if you want. So what Joni was asking is, you know, the DPW director's salary got cut in the line item budget, but part of it's funded here and part of it's funded in the sewer department. So were corresponding cuts made here as well?
Yeah, the cut wasn't made here, but it's minimal, and so that $1,450 will not all be used. But it doesn't affect the $82,000 that we need to offset the rate.
It won't be spent.
It'll be what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Jeff.
It won't be spent. It'll lapse back to reserve or lapse back to whatever at the end of the year.
14,000.
If the number were to reduce to 14,000, even, you know, what the thing is, this is a small dollar amount that they didn't go back in the check. So he'll get paid a little bit less. They won't spend it out of there. The article allows them to move it to any other line items, or unexpended funds come back to the general fund.
No, it doesn't. It goes back into this reserve fund.
It goes into their reserve,
Their reserve fund.
other department reserve.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yes. Joni discussed? Oh, you just asked a question. I'm sorry. Tim, any questions?
Yeah, I had a question. Under miscellaneous, the 119.8, that's about a $72,000 increase over last year. I wonder if maybe Jeff or Barbara could enlighten us as to what caused that such an increase of that magnitude.
I do have that for you, Jim. It's an engineering study for Maple Street for $82,000.
Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome.
Let's see. Mike, any questions?
So, I guess you guys are doing a lot of forecasting. So what I understand you're doing here is, by taking out the $82,000 from the reserve fund, you're only going to collect the $1,365,000 from rates. I assume you forecasted increases or decreases in usage that balances that out there. I assume the goal here is to keep the water rate stable at 693 to 100 feet. And it seems like for $82,000 out of a $1.4 million budget, it's a relatively small amount of money that I'm not so sure has an overall significant impact in rate.
The Board of Selectmen requested that we do whatever we could to make sure that the water rates did not go up.
So if usage stays the same, that's an easy calculation. If you get a reduction in usage, because you got, restaurants close down. And
Yes, we are seeing a reduction in water.
There's a reduction in usage of about 25%, which we've applied to historic water usage for the fourth quarter, which is the first quarter of billing for 21, so the fourth quarter of 20 fiscal year quarter.
Okay.
Is that maybe restaurants not being used, or you don't know where the decrease is from?
Restaurants, hotels,
No, oh yeah, hotels too.
you know, all those good things.
I mean, people
People
are
at home, people at home that don't have to go to work, they didn't shower, you know, who knows?
I would have thought there might have been more used at home, but.
Was the 25%, Barbara, was that last year or the last 3 years or something like that?
The 25% reduction, it's been like in March was about 20% reduction, and April was about 22%, so we used 25%.
So that's year over year.
Sorry, Bruce, did you have a question there?
Yeah, I got the answer.
Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Okay, is there any other questions on the water?
Just one, I wanted to, based on Jim's question, so this study for Maple Street, is that looking to get Maple Street added to both water and sewer?
No, it's to replace the Maple Street water line.
Okay.
Karen, any questions?
Nope.
Okay, I think we're ready for a vote. Let's see, let's start with Bruce this time. Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Larry?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Kathy, yes, that's 9-0. Passes. Let's see. Sewer, we have either. Article 27. This is for $2,549,245, and again, some $264,000 of that is coming from the sewer reserve fund balance. It's a motion.
Reserve fund balance after that 264,000 is removed.
The balance right now is $2,033,000.
2,033,000. Okay. So it'll be down to 1.7 something. Okay. I'll make a motion to approve Article 27 as written.
Okay. Is there a second?
Mike Hager, second.
Okay. Discussion?
Just one question. In the Southbridge feed, is that, I know we had a discussion of a project that may be going in on Fisk Hill that may be added to the flow into Southbridge. Does that account for that as well, or is that just the existing fees?
The existing fee.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yes, I was just curious what the reduction in chemicals, are we able to reduce that by $25,000?
They're using a different type of chemical, and I don't know the details on the chemical, but I know that it's less costly.
Has that got something to do, Barbara, with the zinc issue we were having for an extended period of time? You know,
Jim, I'm not really sure. I can find out for you.
No, it's not a big deal. I was just curious because I know that was a real issue. We were having a lot of heartache to get that resolved. But that's okay.
Any other questions? We ready for a vote then, I think? Larry?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Kathy, yes, that's 9-0. Hey, I'll just do the next one. I'm gonna have to go back. I'm not sure if it's Article 30 or 31. It's the numbers change.
It was the old 30 that's now 29. You haven't done the I&I study.
Right.
Oh, we didn't do that?
No.
No,
That
it's,
was
there was a question if it was water or sewer. Thank you, Jim, it is sewer.
Oh, that's right, that's right. Okay, so I wrote down 30 and I did write, okay, I wrote down 30 and I never changed the number, so it's 29. Okay, thank you.
I'll make
So
a
that's
motion.
done.
Article 29 is written.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Kevin and Jim. Any discussion on that? Be a requirement of the DEC. Anyone have discussion? Not. I think we're ready for a vote. Larry?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Joni? Oh, not there. I'll go back to her. Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Aaron? Yes. Joni, did you hear what we were voting on? Article 29?
I did hear you, yes, putting the dogs out, and yes, my vote is yes.
Okay, thanks. I vote yes, so that is 9-0. All right.
Hey, Kathy, this is Mike. Since we're back and forth on the new 29 versus the old 30, maybe we've had this issue in the past. On the minutes, when we start talking about articles, just make it clear at the start that all article numbers in the motions and discussions are based off of the June 4th version 3 document.
Well, that's why in the minutes,
Because otherwise, we'll have motions and we voted Article 29, a couple different times when they really take
right, but I believe the minutes almost, or always put the title of the article. That's why we make sure that's done that way, right, Joni?
You are right.
Yeah,
So
so,
we've made enough mention for this particular, in this meeting, that we're using version 3 today, so.
yes, that's true too. The next one I have is, hold on. We did all the zoning.
Right.
Well, no, I will just point out that town council sort of, he didn't change anything, but on some of them, as you recall, were very lengthy, and if the portion wasn't being changed, I think he just recommended not even including it, so they are a little bit shorter now.
So are we up to
So we are up to
40?
40, Article 40?
yes. So this one's a little tricky because we had voted these 40 and 41 as one article. Probably technically we should vote to reconsider. I lean on you, Larry, there for should we be doing a reconsideration because we had actually voted no action on those two combined.
Yeah, we should just vote to reconsider, and if that vote passes, at that moment, it's as if nothing beforehand ever occurred.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion, I don't even know what article it was before, the property tax exemption that we voted. I think a week or two ago. It's not very clear, but I think everyone knows what we mean.
It looks like
This
it was.
is Jim. I'll make a motion to reconsider.
When was it, Joni? Was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. It looks like it was formally Article 42.
It was 42, yeah, so thank you. So Jim has made a motion to reconsider what was Article 42. Is there a second?
Mike Hager, second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, then roll call vote. Larry?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Karen.
I wasn't here. I think that's the week I wasn't here, Kathy. So
Oh, that's right. You want to abstain?
Yep.
Okay. And Kathy, yes, so it's 801 passes. So then we will go to what is now Article 40, and it's a property tax exemption for veterans and their spouses. And it was town council's suggestion, a recommendation that we divide these two up because they're really two different clauses, the same chapter and section. And what this does basically is to allow the tax exemption for a veteran and their spouse, even if the domicile is in the name of, let's say, a trustee or a fiduciary, as long as that trust or fiduciary is holding it for that qualifying person's benefit. I believe that Ann Murphy weighed in and said it really any change from what they had been doing, I think.
That's correct. It's a clarification of the process. Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to approve Article 40 as written.
Is there a second?
I'll second. Jim second.
Jim second? Okay. Any discussion? Is everybody clear on what we're voting on?
I'm a little unclear why we're not inquiring more into what it costs, what it may cost.
I don't think that there would be any difference. Jeff, did you have a comment?
I'm sorry. We're already doing it. What this does is make sure that if that property is held by a trustee, conservator, or fiduciary for the qualifying person, that the abatement is still provided. It's what we're doing now. The statute was just clarified to make sure that those entities that hold it in trust for a qualifying veteran get the abatement as if the veteran held the property themselves.
Thank you. I didn't get that. I just started to get a sense of it the last read through, but I really didn't get it. Thank you.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah, I think Ann actually sent a subsequent memo or letter that said they were already doing it, and it was this according to the way this law is written, but this law was passed more as a clarification. Mm-hmm. So it shouldn't really affect us at all.
And it is self-evident that the qualifying person has to reside in the, yes.
All right, okay, Kevin made the motion. Jim, did you second it? I'm sorry, I didn't write it down. Yes.
Yes, I did.
I got it. Sorry. Any other discussion? Getting tired here. Larry, on a vote here?
Yes.
Okay. Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Kathy, yes, so that is 9-0 passes. The next one is
41.
Article 41, and this is the property exemption just for the Gold Star parents now, and that's a full property tax exemption. And
Whoops. Are you ready for a motion?
I am ready for a motion.
I'd make a motion that town recommend that as a finding that can recommend to the town that we take no action on this article.
Is there a second?
I second.
That's Joni. I do want to actually add something. When we were doing the text boxes, we thought that because under the current law, there's a $400 tax exemption, and the town gets reimbursed from the Commonwealth. I think it was $225, and I did ask Ann whether that would carry over, even just the $225, if we gave the full exemption, and she said no because it's an entirely different section of the law. So that. When we were doing the text boxes, we were unsure of that, so I did contact her just for that clarification. So is there any further discussion?
It seemed like there was a family that was eligible.
There was one family in town that's eligible at the moment, yes.
And there were outstanding questions that still haven't been answered, right? We weren't sure if it was the mother or both parents, and if the parents get divorced, is it both residents then they get the exclusion, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
Wasn't
that
clear.
I don't know. It was not clear, no. I mean, it does say surviving parents. And it doesn't necessarily say they have to be together. So if they were divorced, they lived in the town and owned separate houses.
God forbid there's an adoption and then they get divorced. Now we're up to 3, and so on and so forth. Not clear.
Well, it'd be
No.
hard to live in 2 or 3 different places and still qualify, right?
Well, you could certainly have 2 parents who are divorced, still living in the same town and both owning houses. It is a possibility. I don't think it's far-fetched at all.
Probably a strong one, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's possible that they amalgamate the total of the 2 divorced parents and pay on the whole thing.
There's no paying on this. The town is not getting their property taxes. You're
Right.
wiping
I'm
out-
sorry. Bad way to refer to it. You're right.
Yeah.
I think it's too unclear, Kathy. I think it needs to be better written and to have some things in there that would direct. Otherwise, it's going to be a mess.
Well, that's the general law. I don't think that's the way I believe the law is written. I think
I'm reading here, let's say surviving parents or guardians. So I guess if you're divorced, we have 2 domiciles in the town that are, since each parent is thus qualified there. So it doesn't require that they have to be domiciled in the same residence.
Yeah, I thought I did actually look at the statute. I think that's what it says, surviving parents.
There's no guidelines on how the distribution goes if there happens to be 2 households or anything.
I don't know. Do you know if there's anything from the DOR? Barbara, would there be?
I mean, I think the assessors brought up.
What's that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Kevin.
I thought the assessors brought up some other concerns in their initial letter where they came out against this and said that they
Yes,
would.
they did. They did, yeah. So, are there any other questions? We have a motion for no action, so I think we're ready for the vote. Larry?
No.
No, this is for no action. The motion was for no action. You're voting no? Okay. Jared?
Yes.
Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
No.
Karen?
Yes.
Kathy, yes. So that is 7-2. It passes. No action.
Madam Chair, should I try to obtain some revised wording for next week or 2 weeks?
No.
No? When is the deadline for posting this, Jeff? Isn't it in about a week or so? Week and a half?
Yes.
I mean, we do have another meeting posted for next week, but I think...
Can you give me a week?
Bruce, I don't think changing the wording of the article is what's needed here. I think the objection from the lack of full understanding of the financial impact and how many potential people, although there's only one family now, how many in the future, and so I think it's just a matter of more concern relative to the financial impacts and uncertainty at this stage relative to that versus the wording of the article.
Well, that's kind of why I want to, go in there and try and see if we can make those match up. I mean, is this something that if we had more time we could finish this year or not?
Well,
probably not, but certainly if you wanted the veterans agent, if you're the liaison and help him tune up his argument to bring to town meeting, somebody can bring a substitute motion. Assume that if the veterans agent were truly behind this, there'd be some type of substitute motion coming at town meeting with an explanation on town meeting floor that town meeting can decide whether it wishes to accept it or not.
Okay, I guess then you guys can decide too if I have that information whether you want to consider it or not.
yeah, you'd have to bring a motion to reconsider at that point.
Right.
If we are leaving next week. We have one more article here. Article
Thank you very
44.
much.
Okay.
Where we going?
Article 44, the tax rate relief from stabilization. I mean, this is, there's actually no number in it right now, and I believe
This is the one Barbara talked about at the beginning, that she wouldn't want to see a number in there, so that...
right, until town meeting. So is there a motion to accept this article as written?
Kathy, could you reach out to Mike? Because I know he's had in the past where Barbara brings up a great point. He doesn't allow things to go up more than 10%. Now, granted, this is a big number. We're going, I forget what it is, 650 or something like that. So
yeah, it was over 6.
So it would be, would he allow us to go to 715, let's say, $65,000 over? Because that's been his operandi in the past. And if he's willing to do that, then I'd rather see a number here. But I completely understand where Barbara's coming from. But
so this is Mike. I guess it's up to the moderator, but I don't see why, given where we are and trying to work out things at the last minute, that we couldn't leave the article the way it is. Make a recommendation, we come at town meeting, and then we give our recommendation at the meeting, and there's a substitute motion there. But if he's going to say there's no amount of money, and the substitute motion is going to bring a number that he thought was too big, is there another way to come around here and stick a high number in here, and we bring a substitute motion at town meeting that's lower, so that we can at least get through the next week or two, whatever the near-term deadline is?
At this point in time, the article is as written with no dollar amount in it because this is what the Board of Selectmen.
yeah, but we could amend.
You can make a motion to a specific amount.
Right.
Right.
I just a point of information. I thought the objective was to maintain the current 1902. This is to lower the tax rate. To what? I mean, that's open-ended. Who are we going to lower it to?
We're going to lower it to 1902 because it would be higher than 1902.
So I think the language has to express that because that doesn't say that. You could say that this says we're going to lower it to 1702 or even lower. It's not saying that we're going to maintain the tax rate at the current level. It's saying we're going to lower it.
There will be a motion on town meeting floor with a specific dollar amount in it when we get to town meeting. We just don't know what that number is at this point. So night of town meeting, we can give you what that number is, and then your motion can be that specific number. We're not just going to vote. We're not going to vote this article as written with no number in it. We're just moving forward with the posting with no number.
But what I'm saying, Barbara, is I think the language should say sum of money to maintain the tax rate at its current rate, not to lower tax rate for the fiscal year, because that implies or pretty much indicates it's going to be less than 1902. The language does to me anyway. or very well could be.
So Jim, you had my attention when you brought that up, and I would say, it doesn't say what point we're lowering it from. And I think your clarification gets a little too specific, because then we're guaranteeing a 1903. So as I go back to Article 23, where we moved money, $750,000 from free cash, nobody had any objection that the wording of that article is to run free cash to lower the tax rate. The exact same wording as we have in this article.
What article is that, Mike?
Article 23.
It doesn't specifically say the current rate of 1902?
No,
No.
pretty sure it doesn't.
That's always been the language. It's always been to lower the tax rate. Because Barbara's right.
Yeah.
I think it's only been once since I've been in Sherwood that the tax rate actually went up.
Actually, it says to support the tax, if you look at it, like, it was lower, but then that's crossed out now. So it's actually to support the tax rate.
Just to support the tax rate for the
There
fiscal
you
year
go.
beginning. It
Yeah.
doesn't, I knew the language was different.
Tim was right, the language is inelegant.
Yeah, it was changed from when it was originally written.
We had the same, I think we had the same question about using the word "to lower" in that context for 23.
With the reserve.
I think it.
Larry, you're the wordsmith. Why don't you tell us what you think?
Well, that's what I'm asking. The word preserve, to preserve 1902.
This is Mike. I get a little uncomfortable when you go there, because by doing this, we will preserve that, because that's a calculation with some variables in there. We could end up at 1903, 1904, or 1876 when the final calculation comes in here.
Oh, you 812.
Well, that's an excellent point. So why do we even have it? Why is there an article at all if we don't, if it's that kind of a variable? What are we trying to accomplish?
We're trying to reduce the amount of money we have to raise and appropriate to fund the budget.
Barbara's going to say something there. Barbara?
I was just going to say that the goal of the Board of Selectmen is to maintain the tax rate at the same level it is at now. They are not looking for taxes to go up, and so that's what we're trying to achieve with this article. But as we get closer to June 29th, which is town meeting, we'll have hopefully more information from the state as to what they intend to do with state aid.
Kathy, Jeff has his hand up again.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
How about to see if the town will vote to transfer from the Stabilization Fund a sum of money to stabilize the tax rate for the fiscal year beginning?
That's his point.
Because that's the purpose of the exercise, is to stabilize the rate.
Which still gives us, in my mind, a little flexibility of, that doesn't mean it's going to remain the same, not change, but it will stable kind of gets a little bit closer to somebody. I'm okay with that.
I have to say, I like the word stabilize. I'm still uncomfortable. I'd rather put in $750,000 as instead of a sum of money. Something you know is going to be high, but sets a cap, and you always come in lower with a substitute motion. Because there's no reason someone couldn't take all of our stabilization fund and make a recommendation. Well, let's spend $3 million of it and lower the tax rate.
But didn't Barbara say she's going to have a number by the town meeting?
By town meeting, yes.
Yeah, but if we kind of amend our article, amend this, it's our motion that goes to the town floor. It doesn't matter what this says. So if we put in a cap, it's capped.
Can we do that in our meeting right before the town meeting? At
No.
6:30?
Not typically, because he usually doesn't take recommendations from us the night of town meeting, because he says you've had time to consider it for so long, you should have made that recommendation beforehand.
You're not going to have time to consider it this year. That's the bottom line. And it's a motion being put forward. So your motion could be 700,000, and then there could be a substitute motion on your motion for a different amount of money.
Only lower, it couldn't go higher.
I don't know. It could. Yes, it can, because it's the article. It's the article that drives what can be done, and there's no dollar amount in the article.
So this is Mike. I'm comfortable with leave it the way it is, and our box says recommendation be giving at town meeting. I realize that the town moderator typically does not like things coming at the last minute, but hopefully he understands how fluid this number is, and there'll be something there. If he truly wants a specific number in here now that will, and where a substitute, or the substitute motion won't be higher, then we need to figure out what that level is and be prepared to bring a substitute motion once we see what the calculation is on the night of town meeting.
The substitute would be to our motion.
Right.
Yeah, correct.
It has to be to our motion, yes. Does anyone want to make some sort of motion here? There's either this one or another one. Go ahead. Someone has a comment.
I just wanted to, there's no motion to make at this moment because we don't know the dollar amount for this article, which we won't know till we get closer to town meeting.
So there's nothing to vote on.
I feel like I think the recommendation of the Finance Committee would just be recommendation to be provided at town meeting. I think that's what it needs to be at this point.
So this is Mike. Since I'm an advocate of that, I will make that as a motion.
Okay.
I'll second that, Boyson.
What's our motion?
That the recommendation from the Finance Committee will be provided at town meeting.
Kathy?
Yes.
I plan to vote for the motion, and I hope that the text box will account for the need under prevailing fluid circumstances, the several variables for why the motion, why the dollar figure will be given at the town meeting. That will help the public understand when they first why there is no number, and I think it would prepare the ground for the understanding on the part of the moderator.
And you can put in that box that at time of printing, we the amount of money was $650,000, but it could be more or less based on the calculation. So people have an understanding of about the magnitude and an understanding that it may be a little bit higher, and we'll come to it at the town meeting.
So I wonder if I could debate that point. If we quote a number and it just turns out that as a percentage, it's kind of significantly different, the floor will want to know, what didn't you know that you should have known? Were you guessing with the figure you quoted? After all, you're contradicting yourself. On the one hand, you don't know. On the other hand, you're quoting. So maybe we should just leave the number out.
Larry, question to you. Would some reference to maintaining the tax rate at 1902 be acceptable in that box so that the people have an understanding that the objective is to not have a tax increase? So we reference the current rate?
Well, that opens the door to Jeff's use recommendation or suggestion of stabilize, because if the numbers
yes.
corner, no matter what selectmen they want, it has to be a different number from 1902. Hence, stabilize, which to my ear is not all that bad at all.
So
In lieu of the word lower.
But isn't our job here to make a recommendation to the taxpayers, to town meeting voters? Basically, we're who are just saying, nah, you know, we're
We're going to make a recommendation. We're going to make it on town meeting floor when we have all the information to make a reasonable recommendation. Otherwise, I'm just going to recommend a number to them tonight, and we're going to change it because we're going to get a better number on closer to town meeting. So I don't think I'm doing them any good by giving a number that's subject to change and most likely will change. I will make a recommendation to town meeting, and I'm telling here, come to town meeting and I'll make the recommendation and explain it to you.
In the past, that has not worked for us with this particular moderator.
Perhaps our chair and the
situation.
yeah.
I mean, I
Perhaps
think
our chair and the staff can explain it, and he'll be comfortable for this one article, this one fiscal year.
And the moderator has explained on a number of occasions the reason for his preference not going higher, and that is if one voter decides after reading the posted warrant that the number is fine and stays home, only to find out that it was higher and they should have gone to the meeting, the moderator feels that it's his view that that's why he won't allow an increase. But here, everything is up in the air. That's never been the case.
Yeah, I would hope that the moderator understand that this has been an extremely different year, and we have actually not had the time that we usually do. We did start later. We've been very limited in our ability to meet twice a week. We haven't met twice a week. We haven't been able to because of other meetings, the virtual meetings. So, I mean, I will certainly talk to him ahead of time about this article.
But, you know, the idea of giving some guidance to the public before the meeting is a good one. That's why I subscribe to Jeff's suggestion of the word stabilize.
What was the last few words of that, Larry?
Jeff earlier in this meeting, in this discussion, proposed the use of the word stabilize in connection with the tax rate, but not quoting a number. And I'm inclined towards the use of that word, stabilize, because it gives some guidance to the public without giving a hard number that could be impossible under the arithmetic to justify, which then opens the door, well, then why did the Finance Committee vote a number to begin with? It's all avoidable. The word stabilize.
Do we have a motion on the floor right now, Madam Chair?
We do give us the recommendation at a town meeting.
So I'd have to amend it.
It's Mike's motion. You were second.
Don't forget, we would have a text box that
We do have a
explains.
text box, so I was going to say that we could explain it.
We wouldn't need a motion to do that.
No, the text box just accounts for. It's no different than any other text box. It amplifies. It provides guidance, but it doesn't come down in a way that tells a voter how to vote.
So, any other discussion on this? Are we ready for a vote?
Just one question in the technical part. When the substitute motion is proposed to this, when we actually know a number, who's making it? Is that coming from you, Barbara, or is it coming from the town administrator, or is it coming from the BOS?
This is Mike. I don't know why that motion doesn't come from the Finance Committee, that we go up to the moderator. We said, give a recommendation to the annual town meeting. Mr. Moderator, here's the Finance Committee recommendation that the town vote to transfer from the stabilization account the following amount of money for the following purpose. Comes to the Finance Committee.
Yeah, we all can do for the meeting, so I don't know why we couldn't do that then.
I think that's fine, and obviously we're going to be in communication between now and June 29th as numbers hopefully firm up.
Yeah, I would think so.
There's also nothing in us sending a formal communication to the moderator in advance of the meeting, giving him early notice of our intention.
Right, if we meet a week in advance of a number, we can do that. If we meet the night of town meeting, we bring it the night of town.
Right. All right, any other discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Larry, this is on the motion is that we will give our recommendation at town meeting.
Yes.
Jared? Jared?
Yeah, can't hear. Yes.
Oh, okay, Joni?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Bruce?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Kathy, yes, so that is 9-0.
Are we,
Okay.
question?
Yes.
Are
Yeah,
we-
sorry.
Are we leaving the language alone, or are we changing that word to stabilize?
That was not part of the motion. I
Right.
think we discussed that we could put thing in the text box that was the purpose.
I
Okay,
don't know that, but when we take the next vote on the 29th, we can change the word stabilize.
yeah,
Yeah.
just
Wouldn't
making,
that be up to the Board of Selectmen?
No.
No,
Yes.
that's
Talk
not,
to the article. If
Hang
we're
on.
going to change it, if
sorry I
the
asked.
language in
Yeah,
the article,
it's fine. I just want to make sure.
I agree. The article belongs to the selectmen in the end, so if they want to leave it the way it is, that's fine. Our suggested motion at town meeting, if we want to change it to stabilization, we will reflect that in our motion that we bring forward.
That's fine. Thank you.
question, are we going to have any special town meeting warrant articles?
No, there will be none this year.
Whoa. All right.
Thank you, Barbara.
Well, I think then we are done.
It was perfect last year, see?
And Kathy, I do have all the votes that are missing, so you don't have to worry about those.
Yeah,
Oh, you do? Okay. I mean, I have them too. It's just,
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
some of these, between going back and forth with KP, so some of this stuff got kind of lost. So we'll fix it up tomorrow.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really even look at the votes so much. I was really trying to proofread and all that today. I don't know that we needed a meeting next week. We have one scheduled unless we want to talk about anything about the book. But I don't know. I think that I was just going to write an essay about, an introduction and leave it at that because the time is late. We need to get this going.
When will the warrant be out, Jeff?
We can have the corrections made and do another proofread. We could have it out Monday, Tuesday.
Well, when does it actually have to be posted? Is it 2 weeks before?
Yeah, 2 weeks before, so it has to be posted by next Friday.
Wow.
Yeah, see, we're close. Okay.
Well, let's see.
Anyone see a meeting? It is already posted, so if we need to have it, we can have it, but I'm not sure we need it at this point.
So Kathy, yeah, I don't think we have any business need to vote on it. So the issue becomes right up in the front. Is that really you as the chair? Do we need to vote on that, or is that just we'll give you the editorial intent to write it? You want to share drafts and take some comments that you can figure out how you edit it.
Right. Larry usually is our wordsmith.
Okay.
And he's out with that, and we've done a great deal of the text boxes already. We probably just need to have another quick Zoom meeting with the 3 or 4 of us that are doing it. And then Jared, our tech guy, puts it all together. Yeah.
So just so I
Go ahead, Jeff.
okay, just so I understand, so the text boxes we're posting and the version we're posting will be your text boxes, or are we posting what is there? So you're gonna get me a set of warrants with text boxes in it?
We did most of them earlier this week, so we really just have a few left, I think, to just make sure they're all in order. We could probably get them to you. What?
How would you like to do this, Jeff? Like I was planning, I have all of the text boxes that we reviewed together on the previous version tonight. So my intent was to wait for you to give us revised final warrants, and then I would copy paste all our summaries for when Jim and Jared and myself get together.
Yeah, whatever process works for you, the sooner the better. And
so how quickly can you get us to the final revision with no strike throughs, et cetera?
Tomorrow, Monday morning at the latest.
I mean, it shouldn't take much. I mean, all you have to do is accept the changes and make sure all our votes are in and maybe a final proof.
Right. Yeah, I can get that to Andrea. Barbara and I can get that to Andrea in the morning and just do a quick read before we send it out to you.
Okay, that'll probably dictate when we all get together, right? And it'll have to be, if it's Monday, for example, it'll have to be Monday, right?
Yeah, it probably would have to be. Or we can email back and forth, figure that out.
Well, the Zoom call worked pretty well last week.
Yeah, with Jared. So, yeah, I think that'll work. So if there is the absolute necessity to meet, we have it posted. Otherwise, we can cancel it at the last minute and go on from there. And I think since the hour is late, we could hold off on those two sets of minutes.
I'll say something. Bruce mentioned about the veterans thing kind of struck a chord and something wasn't sitting right. I really don't think I understood what it was actually trying to say, and I'd like to take another look at it. I'm not saying we have to go back and see if we can reword it, but I just don't think it got a good explanation. I think I can make it more clear. Maybe we can have a vote where there's more understanding. I don't think it necessarily has to be changed because I just was reading real quick. There's information out there, general laws. I'd like to reconsider it, and I'm going to call for a motion to reconsider if we get a chance to.
That would have to be next week then, right?
Yeah. But unless, well.
Let's
mention all the plans.
Well, it's just pushing against the deadline there. I mean, I don't think that we can. Are there any other dates available next week, Jeff, to meet?
Hold on.
Nope, Tuesday was back board.
Hold on.
Didn't really book, yeah.
Next week, Board of Health, Recreation. I mean, you can meet Tuesday night. Later on the 10th. No, you can't meet Tuesday night. That's planning board. Sorry.
Right, that's, yeah.
Yeah, so your earliest is like late 7 o'clock or so on the 10th, and then the 11th.
How does everybody feel about that?
I would certainly like Jared to have an understanding if a different understanding of that legislation would change his vote. But I think I understand what the legislation says, and the questions still remain that we had before. There's only one family in town right now that appears to apply for it. That doesn't mean that there aren't other families that will move to town in the future, and we're subsidizing multiple issues there. So I think that the underlying math and impact, we need a little bit more time to get our arms around and understand. And it doesn't mean that this can't come forward at next year's town meeting or somewhere down the road. So I don't know that additional information will change my position on it for this fiscal year.
Yeah.
By next year, the state's position on reimbursement may change too. We might have an easy decision to make if they're going to reimburse us.
Well, that's probably true too. And we have Bruce.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
What does that mean?
Did you talk to me, Kathy?
Yeah, did you,
Sorry.
trying to get a feel if people want to meet again or next week or not on this issue?
I do. I certainly do.
You want to take a roll call vote on that?
Looking at the code, two. Yeah, well, we need a, I guess.
I'm not sure what good that would do, Kevin.
Well, do we really want to get to, if we still have a vast majority of people where they're not going to change their mind, we'll get
Oh,
together.
I'm sorry.
The
I'm
same
sorry. Yeah, I was thinking of something different. If you're asking me if, the committee can vote right now to say we're going to take no action, they certainly can.
We already did vote to take no action, so.
Yeah, that's true.
My intent to speak to wasn't to try to convince everybody to have a meeting just for this. If we're not going to have a meeting, then we won't have a meeting.
Kathy, we're going to meet before town meeting. We can always take it up then and see if we have a last minute change. I'll go with Jeff.
Yeah, we do always have a meeting right before. Jeff, you have something?
The article will still be in front of town meeting for the people to vote on. It'll just won't have a recommendation from the finance committee. So
Right.
it's still going to be before the public for action one way or the other.
No, you need a substitute motion.
Substitute motion. If we say
Well, we can get a substitute motion.
And I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm getting so tired. Why would we need a substitute if we weren't changing anything?
No, somebody else would have to do it.
what goes to the floor. So if we say no action, then the town takes no action on it unless there's a substitute motion.
And it would normally come from us, so I suppose it could come from you individually, just not acting to the committee.
I see. So the vote of no action does have an effect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and if nothing changes, we have a substitute motion that's identical to the original motion. So,
Okay.
Yes.
yeah. But I think Mike's suggestion is valid. We can do something before town meeting like we typically do. That would satisfy my intent.
Okay. All right, is there any other old or new business? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
No move.
Second?
That was quick, Johnny.
My dogs are they're getting restless. They're like, come on.
I bet they are. Okay. We'll go with you first then. Joni, what's your vote?
Oh.
No? You don't want to adjourn?
No. Yes.
I like it when somebody looks up in the direction of the squares here.
Okay, Larry.
Well, I'm feeling kind of old like time, but nevertheless, yes.
Oh, thank God. Jared.
Yes.
Jim.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to turn this meeting off in about 15 seconds one way or the other. So
Mike.
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
Bruce,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Kathy, yes, 9-0. We are adjourned at 10:17.
Good night.
Thank you all so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
How
evening.
was that?
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.